Chapter 791. Life in Dawn Valley was very peaceful. The demons here were very easygoing. Even if they weren't on the same level, they could still drink and joke together. When do you plan to leave? Xiao Shui put her hand on the railing of the corridor. Today, she wore a blue dress. Her waterfall-like hair fell on her shoulders. She looked like a lotus that just came out of the bath, gentle and beautiful. Mu Yu slowly woke up from his cultivation. He looked at Xiao Shui and smiled. I'm leaving tomorrow. Can't you stay for a few more days? Xiao Shui's face was filled with disappointment. Her watery eyes were filled with reluctance. Mu Yu was silent for a while before shaking his head. I still have a lot of things to do. Actually, he only had 2 things to do. Find the 9th person of eternal life and gather the power of eternal heaven to deal with Threefold Palace. He also had to find Reverend Lightning Defying and get the soul crossing technique to revive Deadwood Daddy. However, these 2 simple things were so far out of his reach that he didn't even know how to do it. He had to return to the cultivation world and find an opportunity there. He had to take it one step at a time. Xiao Shui couldn't leave the demon race because the 4 demon kings wouldn't let her. Her cultivation was still too low and Water Yuman was looking for her. If she went out with her current cultivation, she might be found by Water Yuman. Once Water Yuman forcefully gave Xiao Shui the killing power of Xianming, something might happen to her. In 3 or 4 months, the Supreme Immortal Leaderboard will be selecting the 9 Xian Immortals. Will you participate? Xiao Shui asked. Killing intent flashed in Mu Yu's eyes. I'll think of a way to ruin Threefold Palace's plan. If Mu Yu couldn't find the person of eternal life before Threefold Palace selected the 9 Xian Immortals, then he would participate in the final battle of the Supreme Immortal Leaderboard. He wanted to see how Threefold Palace would let the 9 Xian Immortals lead all the self-cultivators in the battle against Water Yuman. Be careful. I'll do my best to raise my cultivation. I won't be a burden to you in the future. Xiao Shui said seriously. Mu Yu smiled and nodded. Xiao Shui seemed to have made up her mind and said, Start cultivating. No, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm not in a hurry to cultivate, Mu Yu said with a smile. However, Xiao Shui's face was flushed red as she gritted her teeth and said, You must cultivate. Mu Yu looked at Xiao Shui in confusion. He couldn't understand why Xiao Shui's attitude had become so stubborn. Because I also need to cultivate. Xiao Shui opened the door and walked in. Mu Yu was stunned for a moment. He thought of something and was surprised. But you don't want to? I'm going to cultivate. Xiao Shui's voice came from the room. Mu Yu rubbed his chin, thinking that girls were really a strange species. They were always unpredictable. A blue spirit force gradually covered the sky above the aqua-blue house in the air. At the same time, a blue aura also resonated above the house. It was as if it was joyful for something. It was so comfortable and natural, and everything seemed to flow naturally. In another house in the Valley of Dawn, the Luan Phoenix Demon Monarch and the White Ape Demon Monarch were leaning on the railing and looking into the distance. The White Ape Demon Monarch stared at Xiao Shui's house with interest. A hint of a smile appeared on his face. It's so good to be young. You're always so lively. I didn't even feel this harmonious when I went to the evil faction's hell on earth. The White Ape Demon Monarch stared at the house without blinking. However, the Luan Phoenix Demon Monarch gave him a slap without holding back. Stupid woman, what's wrong with you? The White Ape Demon Monarch cursed. The Luan Phoenix Demon Monarch waved her hand leisurely. The divine fire barrier turned into a red light and covered Xiao Shui's house. She snorted. Where are you looking? You saw Xiao Shui's secret too. You're not a demon monarch. I just want to see how the young people nowadays act. I want to gain some experience. After all, it's been more than 5,000 years. Society has improved. We have to keep up with the times. If we fall behind, we'll be mocked by the young people. The White Ape Demon Monarch snorted and retracted his gaze. Then, he looked at Little Handsome, who was sitting at the table and eating a drumstick. He asked, "Kid, what are you doing here again?" Little Handsome's mouth was stuffed with meat. He mumbled, "I don't know. Xiao Shui said you prepared a lot of good food for me, so I came." The white ape demon monarch walked over and rubbed Little Handsome's hair. He said sympathetically, "You silly child. You don't even know that Xiao Shui has tricked you. Forget it. Since you're so cute, Uncle will take you to eat good food. We can even go to a fun place. Let's go." The Luan Phoenix demon monarch glared at the white ape demon monarch. "Old White, if you dare to take this kid to a place that's not suitable for children, I'll break your legs. Are you jealous? I'll eat your watermelon taro. Get the hell out of here." The moonlight was faint and the crickets chirped softly. The Valley of Dawn was enveloped in a layer of faint light. The night passed very slowly, but it also seemed to pass very quickly. It was warm and natural, making people reluctant to leave. When the first rays of the morning sun tore through the darkness and shone on the western lands, the Valley of Dawn was once again bustling with activity. Because of the 4 Dragon Tribe Patriarchs' outrageous actions, they had suspended the Rising Dragon League for 2 days. But today, under the Azure Dragon Demon Monarch's command, the Rising Dragon League would continue. This time, the Azure Dragon Demon Monarch was personally supervising the Rising Dragon League's competition. Now that everyone knew the cause of the 4 Dragon Tribe Patriarchs' mishap, the Azure Dragon Demon Monarch immediately warned everyone to take note of this incident. No one was allowed to do such things again. Otherwise, they would be severely punished. The Dragon Tribe members were in low spirit. They knew that the Azure Dragon Demon Monarch was truly enraged this time. They no longer dared to recklessly find excuses to use external forces in the Rising Dragon League. On the other hand, the primitive demon tribe members felt as if spring had arrived. They knew that the Azure Dragon Demon Monarch's actions were undoubtedly a reform. These pseudo-dragons would no longer have the confidence to strut around. This time, the Azure Dragon Dynasty might really be undergoing a complete change of blood. The Rising Dragon League was a boiling cauldron of voices. However, the genius child from the Valley of Dawn and the human Mu Yu had withdrawn from the competition. Many demon tribe members felt that it was a pity. After all, Xiao Shui had left a deep impression on them. In order to maintain the fairness of the Rising Dragon League, the Azure Dragon Demon Monarch restarted the competition. Those who had already been eliminated could also compete again openly. This caused many demon tribe members to be overjoyed. At the end of the heavenly stream was a bottomless crack. No one knew where it led to. No one could directly fly over this crack. There were a few bridges that would only appear at certain times. At this time, Xiao Shui and Mu Yu were here, waiting for the bridge to appear. Dragon Ting and the White Ape Demon Monarch were also here. "I already told you where Hai Dongqing is. Why are you still following us?" Mu Yu looked at the White Ape Demon Monarch with disdain. The White Ape Demon Monarch snorted. "I'm here to warn you. Don't you dare fool around outside. I know exactly what you were doing yesterday. If I find out that you're half-hearted, I'll beat you to death." "None of your business. I haven't settled the score with you yet. Where did you take Xiao Shui yesterday? Are you out of your mind?" Mu Yu scolded without any trace of politeness. When Xiao Shui returned in the morning, he happily told Mu Yu that he had gone to a place with many female demon monarchs. The female demon monarchs there hugged and hugged the White Ape Demon Monarch. He even said that the place was similar to the place described in Shiman Wuji's battle with Pan Enlil. Mu Yu's face turned green. He wanted nothing more than to pluck the White Ape Demon Monarch's fur off. The White Ape Demon Monarch glanced at the sky. "I just feel that this child is too pitiful every time you guys send him away, so I let him see the world." Then, the White Ape Demon King seemed to have thought of something. He said with disappointment, "It's a pity that this little kid has disappointed me." He put all his attention on eating and ate all the food in Willow Restaurant. "Is Willow Restaurant a place to eat?" Xiao Shui laughed. she helplessly said, "Uncle Ape, Xiao Shuai is still young. Don't be like this." Before this child left, he told the Willow Restaurant's proprietress that the food here was delicious and that he would come again next time. You didn't see the proprietress's expression. It was as if she had seen the plague. The white ape demon monarch glanced at Xiao Shuai. Muyu couldn't help but laugh. Xiao Shuai's interest was only in eating and playing. Although he had read Shimin Wuji's messy books, he still felt that eating was the most important thing. "Stop talking nonsense, you little bastard. My daughter, a good cabbage, has been eaten by a pig. I won't talk about this matter for now. However, I'm here to warn you. You better find that Xiang Nan and ask him to return the heart of the gerfalcon. Otherwise, I won't let him go when I see him," the white ape demon monarch threatened. Muyu didn't care. He scolded, "Old hairy monkey, do you have any culture? Xiao Shui and I are lovebirds. What cabbage? Your analogy is so annoying. No wonder the Luan Feng demon monarch always wants to beat you up. Serves you right." The white ape demon monarch snorted. Meanwhile, Xiao Shui and Long Ting were talking. "Big earthworm, when I'm not around, I won't be able to stand up for you if others bully you. You have to be careful." Xiao Shui was still holding an apple in his arms. Long Ting said, "Little mouse, when did you stand up for me? Stop talking nonsense. The next time I see you, I'll beat you until you're looking for your teeth on the ground." "Forget it. You won't be able to beat me in this lifetime. Haha." Xiao Shui took a bite of the apple. The transparent bridge at the end of the Skyfall cascade appeared again. Xiao Shui saw that Muyu was already on the bridge. She said softly, "Be careful." Muyu nodded. "I know. Let's go back." "Don't worry. Big sister Xiao Shui, I'll help you keep an eye on Muyu. I won't let him fool around outside." Xiao Shui giggled as he stood on Muyu's shoulder. Muyu glared at Xiao Shui. "You talk too much." Muyu had already crossed the transparent bridge and was heading toward the swamp. Muyu had already used some trees to make some markings on the way here. These markings were enough for him to leave without a hitch. Long Ting pursed her lips. She felt a little empty in her heart when she realized that there was no one to argue with in the future. "Let's go. Time to go back and participate in the Rising Dragon Assembly." The white ape demon monarch turned around and left. Chapter 792. The territory of the monster race was located in the westernmost part of the Triple Continent. The territory of the monster race was very vast. By the time Mu Yu returned to the Triple Continent, the sun had already set in the west. Mu Yu had stayed in the monster race for nearly 2 months. During these 2 months, it was hard to say what had happened in the cultivation world. The best way to inquire about the situation in the cultivation world was to go to the big cities. Cultivators came and went in the cities, discussing all kinds of new things in the cultivation world. However, because the western part of the monster race was too desolate, Mu Yu flew for nearly 10,000 kilometers to the east without seeing any traces of the human race. Seeing that the sky was about to darken, he could only rest in the forest for the night. Mu Yu had Xiao Shui transform into a human because a lot of people probably knew that he had a little beast by his side. Therefore, he had Xiao Shui transform into a human so that it wouldn't be easily detected. Mu Yu recovered his breath and withdrew the spirit power in his body, consolidating his cultivation at the third firmament of the body integration stage. Based on the current situation, he shouldn't be far from the fourth firmament of the body integration stage. One had to know that after cultivating with Xiao Shui a month ago, his cultivation reached the second firmament of the body integration stage. Yesterday, perhaps because the two of them were willing, his cultivation increased again. It's a pity that Xiao Shui is too reserved. Otherwise, if the two of us cultivated together often, our cultivation would increase very quickly. Mu Yu said with some regret. Although that was what he said, he also knew that the more they cultivated together, the less effective the two of them would be in the future. However, this cultivation speed already made Mu Yu quite satisfied, so he wouldn't ask for more. Anyway, it's late at night and we have nothing to do. Why don't we try and see if we can use the dragon searching formation nearby? Xiao Shuai suggested out of boredom. Mu Yu pondered for a moment and nodded. Mu Yu did not have the foundation of the dragon-seeking formation in the past. Most of them were given to him by the Azure Dragon Monster King. However, according to Mu Yu's estimation, the 5 treasures given by the Azure Dragon Monster King could only be used 3 times before their spiritual energy was exhausted. Mu Yu had the chaotic yin and yang treasure in his body, so he didn't need to worry about exhausting the array foundation when using other array technique. However, because the dragon searching array was looking for an immortal, it had to use the array foundation of the 5 elements. Therefore, the chaotic yin and yang couldn't replace all of this. Mu Yu was no stranger to the method of setting up the dragon-seeking array. Back then, Elder Sun had set it up in the falling dust mountain. Many of Elder Sun's array techniques were obtained from damaged ancient books. The dragon-seeking array was invented by the Azure Dragon Demon King a few thousand years ago. This array technique had long been spread out and was recorded in the array sect. Meteoric iron, evergreen wood, black sea chin ice, ancient spirit fire, sunken rock, frozen earth. The 5 array foundations had been placed in specific positions. Now, it was no longer as difficult to inscribe array patterns as it was in the falling dust mountain. Strictly speaking, this array wasn't that difficult. Mu Yu only spent an hour to set it up. How big is the search range of this dragon-seeking array that you set up? Little Shuai asked curiously as he fiddled with the array patterns. Mu Yu roughly estimated and replied, a large part of the search range of the dragon-seeking array is actually related to the array foundation. It's hard to say the search range. If I search in all directions with me as the center, it's about 20,000 kilometers. If I search in only one direction, it's at least 40,000 kilometers. Because his current location was only about 10,000 kilometers away from the territory of the Western demon race, there was no need to search according to the range. He planned to search in only one direction, and the best way was to search in the east. The dragon scales given by the Azure Dragon Monster King were placed in the dragon-seeking array. This time, Mu Yu was naturally the one acting as the array's catalyst. With Mu Yu's cultivation, being an array guide was not as dangerous as being in Shu. Little Shuai looked at Mu Yu from outside. Mu Yu had already activated the dragon-seeking array. The 5 array foundations began to emit colorful lights, and the array patterns on the ground began to gradually flow. Mu Yu sat cross-legged in the dragon-seeking array. The dragon's scales appeared in front of his chest, and the array patterns gathered on the dragon's scales. Then, a purple light shot out from his eyes and soared into the sky, shattering the clouds in the sky and going straight into the sky. These lights could not be seen by outsiders. Only those who were close to the dragon-seeking array or in the dragon-seeking array would know. Mu Yu's consciousness seemed to have become 3-dimensional. He felt as if he was wandering among the mountains, rivers, plants, and trees, watching everything evolve. There were countless vengeful spirits floating in this world. These vengeful spirits were the souls left behind after people died. They had lost their consciousness, but they still had a strong obsession in their hearts. Therefore, they had been floating and did not enter the cycle of reincarnation. When they saw Mu Yu appear with consciousness, they immediately rushed toward Mu Yu crazily, wanting to fight for Mu Yu's body. However, Mu Yu was not afraid of these vengeful spirits. Even if his consciousness left his body, he was still much stronger than these vengeful spirits. He snorted faintly, and a domineering aura enveloped his consciousness, scaring all the vengeful spirits away. Where would the immortal be? Mu Yu's consciousness drifted east at a very fast speed. Not only could he see the vengeful spirits around him, but he could also see the outlines of mountains and rivers. However, when Mu Yu searched in one direction, he did not see any cities. The dragon's scale was wrapped in the aura of immortality. Therefore, if he encountered a similar aura of immortality in the search area, the dragon's scale would react and rush over with Mu Yu's consciousness. In the perception of Mu Yu's consciousness, he could sense some vague figures of cultivators. For example, there seemed to be more than a dozen cultivators hundreds of miles away from him. They were scattered and doing something. These cultivators did not have a specific shape. Their bodies seemed to be made up of 5 kinds of lights. However, these 5 lights that symbolized the 5 elements did not reach a perfect balance. There would always be some lights that were slightly dimmer and did not match the aura of the dragon scale. The light on the body of the immortal must be the 5 lights competing with each other. None of the attributes were congenitally deficient. Mu Yu searched for a full 4 hours. She searched all the places 40,000 miles to the east, but still found nothing. It's really looking for a needle in a haystack. Mu Yu helplessly withdrew his array technique. He did not expect to be able to find it on the first try. This time, he also wanted to familiarize himself with the power of the dragon searching array. Although he knew the dragon searching array, he had never tried this array before. At present, Mu Yu was not very familiar with this immortal who had appeared at an unknown time. If he was very powerful and could avoid the tracking of the dragon searching array, then it would be useless for Mu Yu to use the dragon searching array to search the entire 3-tiered continent. When he looked at the array base again, the spiritual power of the array base was almost exhausted. This won't do. I have to think of a way to create a huge dragon searching array and expand the search range. Mu Yu remembered the Yuman teleportation array that he had encountered in the Moyun Mountains. At that time, Yuman's teleportation array also used these 5 things as the array base. They were not making the dragon searching array, and the array patterns were different. However, there were a lot of array bases, enough for Mu Yu to transform them into another dragon searching array. Xiao Shui was bored and wagged his tail. It's so boring. Suddenly there are no big earthworms, so I have no one to fight with. There's no other way. He has to improve his strength, and we have too many things to do. I'll find him after I solve some things. Mu Yu carefully calculated his plan. The most important thing was to find an Leishenren and get the soul crossing array. Resurrecting Deadwood Daddy and saving his master were urgent matters. At least he still stubbornly believed that his master was still alive. Mu Yu was not very clear about Yuman's current movements. Mu Yu had no idea about the situation of his 3 senior brothers. The Supreme Immortal list released by the Threefold Palace was about to end. This meant that Mu Yu had to chase after the Supreme Immortal list. I should be able to see Qingyan and the others by then. I hope they haven't been found by Yuman yet. Mu Yu thought about the current situation. He did not need to worry about the flesh-winged horned monsters for the time being. His real goal was the racial war that the Threefold Palace had deliberately started. The few of them were the key to this war. Mu Yu did not want to participate in this war. He just wanted to do what he had to do. He wanted to see if he could persuade Mu Yumeng to not participate. Xiang Nan wanted to resolve this war in his own way. Qingyan wanted to protect the cultivators. Mu Yu was not clear about Luo Shang's intentions. No matter who it was, it would not be easy to achieve their goals. The sky gradually brightened. Mu Yu felt a little tired after a night of useless work. I'm starving. Let's go kill a few demon beasts to eat? Little Shui groaned as he rubbed his stomach. Okay. Mu Yu raised his hand and put away all the array bases. Little Shui jumped onto Mu Yu's shoulder. The 2 of them walked into the depths of the forest. There were many high-level demon beasts in this forest. Little Shui was becoming more and more picky when it came to hunting. Today, he wanted to eat a rank 6 startled leopard on a whim. The kidney of a startled leopard is very delicious when fried. Little Shui kept giving suggestions on Mu Yu's shoulder. You have to have it. Mu Yu jumped onto a branch and touched the trees. The trees within 100 miles were called his eyes. They reported the situation of the demon beasts in this forest to him. If you don't have a startled leopard, an iron law bear will do. Little Shuai wiped his saliva and said, "You're lucky. You really found a startled leopard. However, it seems to be injured," Muyu said in surprise. In his perception, a startled leopard with a bleeding leg had broken into the range of trees that he could control. At this moment, it was fleeing towards the southeast. It doesn't matter if it's injured or not. Even if it's not injured, it will still die. Hurry up and take it down, Little Shuai urged. Muyu did not think too much. He turned around and disappeared into the trees. He quickly moved in the direction of the startled leopard. The startled leopard was the king of rank 6 demon beasts. Their speed was astonishing. It was impossible for an ordinary spirit-severing stage cultivator to catch up with the speed of a startled leopard. Unless they had some special magic treasure or injured it first, they could catch it. Through the feedback from the trees, Muyu saw that the startled leopard's leg was bleeding purple blood. However, its speed was still as fast as a startled swan. It ran very fast in the forest, just like its name. However, no matter how fast it ran, it still met its nemesis. Muyu caught up with the startled leopard in the blink of an eye. He slapped the startled leopard down, and it stopped breathing in an instant. "Great, start a fire and cook." Little Shuai began to take out the cooking utensils. At the same time, he popped out his small claws and prepared to dissect the startled leopard. The fur of a rank 6 startled leopard was quite precious. It was soft and light but also incomparably hard. It could withstand a blow from a spirit-severing stage cultivator. Its bones and tendons were materials for cultivators to refine magic treasures. Especially its blood, which was the ingredient for refining many high-level elixirs. It could be said that its entire body was a treasure. This demon beast's speed and fighting strength were very powerful. An ordinary spirit-severing stage cultivator might not be able to kill it. The main reason was that it was too fast and could not be caught up. However, because it met Muyu, who was at the body fusion stage, it could only be considered unlucky. What a big demon spirit! I like to eat the demon spirit of a rank 6 demon beast. Little Shuai used his claws to dig out a palm-sized white demon spirit from the stomach of the startled leopard. It contained a large amount of spiritual energy. It was condensed from the rank 6 startled leopard's lifetime demon spirit. Demon spirits were very precious, especially the demon spirit of a rank 6 startled leopard. If it was sold, it would definitely be sold for a good price. Many people would even kill for a rank 6 demon spirit. Not only the demon spirit, even the entire startled leopard would be sold for a large sum of money. It was a pity that Muyu was not familiar with the market price of demon beasts. He didn't use money very often, nor was he lacking in money. The principle of having money to travel the world didn't apply to him. In the past, in the Moyen mountain range, Little Shuai fought with rank 6 demon beasts in order to eat and Muyu in order to cultivate. And these demon beasts' demon spirits were all eaten by Little Shuai. The parts that could be eaten were eaten and the rest were thrown away. Hurry up and cook. After we're done, we need to leave this place and find a city to gather information. He couldn't help with things like cooking. Little Shuai liked to cook by himself, so he let him do it. Muyu could just wait to eat. After all, he was the one who caught the fleeting leopard. His mission had already been completed. Muyu leisurely laid on a tree branch. A few leaves danced in front of him, arranged into various shapes. Back then, the jade pendant that symbolized the identity of a Xiantian realm disciple was in Muyu's hands. He would often check the soul anchoring array on the jade pendant from time to time to see if there were any problems with it. However, the array Heavenly Tao was very considerate. This jade pendant contained a large amount of spiritual energy. According to Muyu's estimation, this jade pendant could maintain the soul anchoring array for another year without any problems. Dad, I will definitely revive you. And Master, you must wait for me, Muyu said firmly. Little Shuai took a bite of the demon spirit and began to cut the startled leopard. However, at this moment an angry voice suddenly came from the forest. Chapter 793. A middle-aged cultivator and a lady in her 20s suddenly rushed out from the forest and stopped at the empty space that Muyu had cleared. At this moment, Xiao Shuai was just about to take a second bite of the demon spirit. You guys found it first? Muyu turned over and sat up. She looked at the two people in front of her in surprise. The older man looked to be in his 40s. His face was slightly pale and his body was skinny. His arm was wrapped in a white cloth and blood stained the white cloth. He seemed to be injured. As for the lady with an angry face, she was wearing a light green floral dress. She was tall and her long ponytail seemed to be sticking up in the air because she was angry. She looked very pure. At this moment, she was glaring at Muyu and Xiao Shuai, who was biting the demon spirit in the empty space. The cultivation of these two people wasn't high. The man was at the first layer of spirit severing stage, while the lady's aura was slightly weaker, only around the out-of-body stage. That's right. We chased this graceful leopard all the way here. We were about to catch it, but you guys snatched it away. The lady was furious. Sitong, don't be rude, the middle-aged man said. He looked at Muyu suspiciously. At this moment, Muyu's aura was restrained and he couldn't see the depth of his cultivation. However, how could it be easy to kill a rank 6 graceful leopard? Father, we chased this graceful leopard for 2 days and 2 nights. It wasn't easy for us to injure its leg. Because of this, you were also injured. Now, it was snatched away by this unknown person. This is too much. That child is still eating the demon spirit. What a waste. The lady called Sitong said angrily. Xiao Shuai blinked his eyes. You guys chased this graceful leopard? But with your cultivation, isn't it too difficult to kill it? This isn't a reason for you to snatch it away, the lady shouted. Sitong, don't be rash. My 2 little friends, I am Xian Zhengtang of the Burning Sea sect. This is my daughter, Xian Sitong. The 2 of us have indeed chased this graceful leopard for 2 days. Did the 2 of you personally kill this graceful leopard? Xian Jingtang was not as reckless as his daughter. He scanned the surroundings to see if there was anyone else in the forest. In his opinion, the graceful leopard was a very powerful rank 6 demonic beast. Even with his spirit-severing stage cultivation, he had suffered a loss before. And the Muyu in front of him was young. Although he couldn't see the depth of his cultivation, it was still impossible for him to kill this graceful leopard alone. As for the child who was squatting on the ground and eating the precious demon spirit like it was a fruit, he was even more surprised. It was not because Little Handsome was powerful, but because Little Handsome was able to come to this forest where high-level Yao beasts roamed freely without any cultivation fluctuations. He must have a great background. Perhaps there were some powerful experts hidden in the surroundings. Burning Sea sect? Never heard of it. There's only the 2 of us here. Other than the 2 of us, who else can kill it? Little Commander asked curiously. You killed him? Don't boast. How can the 2 of you possibly kill a tier 6 fleeting leopard? Xian Sitong snorted. Little Commander was not interested in explaining anything. He took another bite of the demon spirit and chewed crisply. Believe it or not, it's up to you. He continued to dig into the stomach of the graceful leopard and took out the 2 kidneys. He was going to make stir-fried kidneys. A spirit-severing stage and an out-of-body stage cultivator could not affect his meal. Xian Sitong looked at Little Commander's rough technique, casually cutting open the fur of the graceful leopard. Her heart immediately ached. The fur was a top-quality material for making protective clothing. It was torn open just like that. Little brother, don't destroy the graceful leopard's fur like that, Xian Sitong anxiously shouted. Xian Jingtang looked at Little Commander's skillful technique and was shocked. This was because he saw that Little Commander was completely using his hands to tear open the graceful leopard's fur. He did not rely on any other tools. How was this possible? Even if he was a spirit-severing stage cultivator, it took him a Herculean effort to make a small cut on the leg of the graceful leopard. How did this little boy do it? Could it be that these two people were geniuses from the Eight Gates? In an instant, Xian Jingtang thought of many possibilities. He hurriedly said, "Sorry to disturb you two. Since this graceful leopard was killed by the two of you, then we will not interfere. Goodbye." "Father, we worked so hard to chase after the graceful leopard. Are you going to give it up just like that? Don't forget, you were injured because of it." Xian Sitong looked at Xian Jingtang in confusion. "Let's talk after we leave." Xian Jingtang gave his daughter a look, indicating for her to stop talking. "Wait," Mu Yu said. "Little friend, we don't want to get involved with this graceful leopard. We have offended you. Please don't mind." Xian Jingtang looked at Mu Yu, who was sitting on the tree branch, vigilantly. If he could kill the graceful leopard, he could naturally kill them. Xian Jingtang still did not know who Mu Yu was. Mu Yu said indifferently, "It's nothing. If you want this graceful leopard, then take it. We only want its 2 kidneys and demon spirit. Oh, and maybe its thigh meat. The rest is yours." Although with the cultivation of these two people, they might not be able to kill this graceful leopard even if they chased it for 10 days and 10 nights. However, to Mu Yu, no matter how precious the graceful leopard's skin and bones were, it was useless to him. They killed the graceful leopard purely because Xiao Shuai wanted to eat the stir-fried kidneys. "What? You want to give the graceful leopard to us?" Xian Jingtang was shocked. He thought he had heard wrongly. The graceful leopard was a treasure from head to toe. It would not be a problem to sell it for hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. Ordinary spirit-severing stage cultivators might not be able to catch a graceful leopard if they encountered one. Originally, Xian Jingtang thought that he would return empty-handed. Who would have thought that Mu Yu would be willing to give up the graceful leopard? Yes, that's right. The other parts are not delicious anyway. With a flash of light, Xiao Shuai swiftly cut off the 4 legs of the graceful leopard. Then, he lightly flicked the huge graceful leopard and threw it towards Xian Jingtang and Xian Jingtang. "These are yours." Xian Jingtang looked at Xiao Shuai's incomparably fast movements and was shocked to the extreme. Even with his eyesight, he could not see how Xiao Shuai cut off the graceful leopard's limbs. If it were him, he would not be able to do it so effortlessly. "You killed the graceful leopard just to eat?" Xian Sitong opened her mouth. She suddenly felt that it was a little funny. She could not help but ask, "Do you know what the graceful leopard's skin and bones are used for?" "Who cares what it is used for? It's not delicious anyway." Xiao Shuai set up the firewood and began to cook without a care in the world. The flintstone crackled with flames, and all kinds of spices had already appeared beside Xiao Shuai. Xiao Shuai even put on a tall white hat that he had gotten from God knows where, looking like an experienced chef. "Are you 2 idiots? The graceful leopard is—" Xian Sitong could not help but say. "Sitong, don't be so rude." Xian Jingtang hurriedly stopped the girl who spoke without thinking. Then, he smiled apologetically and said, "My daughter is outspoken. Don't blame her for offending you. Since the 2 of you are willing to part with your treasure, then I thank the 2 of you for your gift." Xian Jingtang was very polite from the beginning to the end. He lowered his posture because he was 100% sure that Mu Yu and Xiao Shuai, these 2 young people, had extraordinary backgrounds. He could not afford to offend them. "No need to thank us. We know the value of a rank 6 graceful leopard. However, we have seen many demonic beasts of this level, so we are not surprised. Since the 2 of you have chased it for so long, there is no harm in giving it to you." Mu Yu's main reason was that Xian Jingtang did not have that kind of aggressive attitude, which made people have a good impression of him. Although this girl who looked 1 or 2 years older than him had a very aggressive tone, her father's modesty still made Mu Yu decide to return the graceful leopard to them. Originally, they caught this kind of thing to eat. They had seen many rank 7 demonic beasts. If they wanted to catch it and sell it for money, they would not have to worry at all. Thank you for your help. Xian Jingtang heaved a sigh of relief. He touched his injured arm, thinking that he did not get injured in vain. Xian Sitong suspiciously looked at Mu Yu, who was sitting on the treetop, and Xiao Shuai, who was cooking on the ground. She quickly put away the graceful leopard, afraid that the two of them would suddenly go back on their words. Father, look at them. We are not greedy people. Why don't we just use spirit stones to buy it for them? Although Xian Sitong spoke bluntly, she still said to her father. Xian Jingtang nodded. All right, Sitong, give them all the spirit stones you have. Xian Sitong fumbled for a moment and said, Hey, you two. Although you were lucky to kill the graceful leopard, since you're willing to give it to us, then we'll pay you 120,000 spirit stones. This is all the spirit stones we have. Don't say that we're greedy. A graceful leopard is worth at least 500,000 spirit stones on the market. However, because Xiao Shuai cut off its limbs and demon spirit, it can only be sold for about 300,000 spirit stones. Xian Jingtang and the others didn't lose out by buying it with 120,000 spirit stones. Spirit stones. Mu Yu laughed involuntarily. He had no concept of spirit stones. Ever since he found out that they were hidden rich second generations in the Luochen Mountains, he never lacked money. In any case, when he ran out of money, he could sell some pills and the like. If he really couldn't, he could make a trip to the Dan Cauldron sect and extort a sum of money from the old man guarding the pavilion. Or he could return to the Array sect. Zhuge Shaoxing could send all the spirit stones to Mu Yu with a single word. As the sect leader of the Array Talisman sect, how could he lack money? He could count spirit stones until his hands cramped. Why would he care about a mere 120,000 spirit stones? You guys are very honest. That's good. Mu Yu didn't refuse. With a wave of his hand, he kept all the spirit stones. There was no need to be pretentious about this kind of thing. After all, they had good intentions. Moreover, he was the one who killed the graceful leopard. There was no need for him to be a good person. Of course we're honest. Oh right, I still don't know your names. Xian Sitong pouted and asked. Name? In the cultivation world, the name Mu Yu was too eye-catching. In order to avoid trouble, he had to disguise his identity. He had already used all the nicknames. Lan Feng, Feng Mu, why was it so troublesome to come up with a nickname? Chapter 794. Rain and Wind? Why did your parents give you such a strange name? Were you born in the wind and rain? Xian Sitong asked curiously. Born in the wind and rain? No, I'm a feather floating in the wind. Mu Yu quickly realized that Xian Sitong had misunderstood, and casually explained. He felt that he was indeed like a feather in the wind, without a fixed home, drifting with the wind. Xian Sitong nodded thoughtfully and said, So it's like that. I think you're quite honest, not bad. In the future, when we sell this graceful leopard, if we can meet you again, we'll compensate you a little more. Mu Yu smiled slightly. He did not lack money. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong began to deal with the graceful leopard's corpse, but right at this time, Mu Yu suddenly frowned and turned his head to the depths of the forest. What's wrong? Xian Sitong just happened to see Mu Yu looking at something, and asked curiously. You two aren't the only ones who entered this forest. Looks like there are 3 more people coming this way. Mu Yu said casually. 3 people? Could it be Gong Gong Xian and the rest? Xian Sitong's expression changed slightly. Xian Jingtang also had a serious expression. Sitong, let's hurry and leave this place. Yo, little Tong, where are you guys going in such a hurry to leave? As they spoke, 3 people had already walked out from the depths of the forest. The one in the lead was a man who looked to be in his 30s. His face was dark, his eyes shifty, his teeth protruding, and there was even a mole on his chin. To be honest, this person's appearance was ugly, letting down passers-by. But his cultivation was not low, and he also had the strength of the first layer of the spirit-severing realm. Behind the man were 2 middle-aged men. Their auras were restrained, and their cultivation was also at the first layer of the spirit-severing realm, on par with Xian Zhengtang. Gong Gongxian, how did you find us? Xian Sitong looked at Gong Gongxian with disgust, seemingly very disgusted with this man. Haha. We naturally came here to pursue this startling swan leopard. We heavily injured this startling swan leopard, but we didn't expect that you guys would benefit from it. Gong Gongxian rubbed his chin as he sized up Xian Sitong with a sinister look. You're shameless. This graceful leopard clearly has nothing to do with you. Xian Sitong rebuked angrily. It's not up to you to decide whether it's related or not. Today, we're definitely going to get this graceful leopard. Gong Gongxian looked at the fleeting leopard lying on the ground with a burning gaze. The fleeting leopard was very valuable and could be auctioned for a high price. With their strength, it was impossible to kill it. Now that he saw a fleeting swan leopard, Gongsun Xian became greedy and wanted to take it for himself. Gongsun Xian, we got it first. Don't go too far. Xian Jingtang shouted. Gongshuan's gaze swept across Xian Jingtang's arm. There were still dark red bloodstains there. It seemed that the injury from the graceful leopard did not heal that easily. The greed in his eyes was revealed without any concealment. Xian Jingtang was at the first layer of the spirit-severing stage. Originally, he would be a little afraid of 1 or 2 of them, but today, he had 2 people at the spirit-severing stage by his side. In addition, Xian Jingtang was seriously injured, so he was not their match at all. As for the child who was cooking beside him and Mu Yu who was sitting on the treetop and yawning, he did not pay any attention to them at all. He only ignored them as country bumpkins who had never seen the world. Going too far? So what? My Xing Xiang mansion is not afraid of your burning sea sect at all. If you know what's good for you, then obediently leave the graceful leopard for me and scram. Otherwise I'll kill you. Gong Gongxian said fiercely. If your Xing Xiang mansion dares to make a move on our burning sea sect, you will definitely regret it. Xian Jingtang did not seem to be afraid of the other party's power. From his tone, it seemed that the burning sea sect was stronger than the Xing Xiang mansion. However, Gong Gongxian laughed loudly. Xian Jingtang, I'm afraid you still don't know, right? Our Xing Xiang mansion is now a subsidiary of the Stargate. Even if I kill you here, your burning sea sect's leader can only swallow his anger. As he spoke, Gong Gongxian took out a token in his hand. It was the token of the Stargate. Stargate? You actually joined the Stargate? Xian Jingtang was shocked. As one of the 8 gates, the Stargate had extraordinary means and extraordinary strength. To be able to have a relationship with the Stargate was something that all the small sects wished for. That's right. Speaking of which, I've changed my mind now. Little Tong, I'm deeply in love with you, but you've always disliked me. Now that I'm a member of the Stargate, my status is not ordinary. You should also follow me, right? Gong Gongxian had a lascivious look. His gaze recklessly swept over Xian Sitong's body, and he even fiercely glared at a certain place. Gong Gongxian, stop daydreaming. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? You're not even a lackey of the Stargate. What's so great about you? Xian Sitong angrily scolded. If you don't follow me, then I'll force you to follow me. 2 elders, help me catch Xian Jingtang. As for Little Tong, I'll do it myself. Gong Gongxian laughed. Yes, young master. The 2 middle-aged men behind Gong Gongxian respectfully responded. Then, they flew up and directly headed towards Xian Jingtang. Sitong, I'll hold them back. You leave this place. You're not their opponent. Xian Jingtang gave his daughter a push and rushed forward himself. He wanted to fight for a chance to save his daughter's life. Father, I won't leave alone. Let's fight it out with them. Xian Sitong had already raised her flying sword. The sword light streaked across the treetops, rolling up a bunch of fallen leaves. The sword light crisscrossed and slashed towards Gong Gong Xian. Xian Jingtang's arm was injured. Facing two spirit-severing stage cultivators at the same time, he couldn't even last one round. In just one exchange, he was sent flying. Father! Xian Sitong cried out in alarm. But Gong Gongshuan's hand had already circled around Xian Sitong's flying sword and grabbed Xian Sitong's throat. Worry about yourself first. Gong Gongshuan's cultivation was much higher than Xian Sitong's. He easily subdued Xian Sitong. At the same time, he closed his eyes and sniffed Xian Sitong's body. He revealed a perverted expression of intoxication. A nefarious fire gushed out from his body. He already couldn't wait to drag Xian Sitong to a place where there was no one to do something. However, at this moment, an indifferent voice sounded. The people I hate the most are people from Stargate. A large hand suddenly pulled out of thin air and slapped Gong Gongshuan's face. Gong Gongxian saw stars and couldn't tell north from south. And Xian Sitong was also pulled by another hand and landed steadily on the ground. Bang! Bang! Two more sounds came from afar. Following that, the two elders of Xingxiang Mansion were also sent flying high. They landed on the ground motionless. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Mu Yu looked coldly at the three people from Xingxiang Mansion who were lying on the ground like stray dogs. He didn't show any mercy. You dare hit me? Gong Gongxian was shocked and furious. When he saw Mu Yu and little Shuai, he didn't see any spirit energy fluctuations on them. He thought that they were just country bumpkins. He thought that he would kill them after dealing with Xian Jingtang and his daughter. But he didn't expect that he was wrong. This was like the flood rushing against the Dragon King's temple. How could they be simple country bumpkins? But Gong Gongxian still said angrily, "If you dare to attack us, you'll offend Stargate. Are you tired of living? Our Xingxiang Mansion is now Stargate's. Your Stargate's trash. I know." A black and white sword aura swept out and slit the throats of the three people. Gong Gongxian held his neck and widened his eyes. He thought that by saying that they were from Stargate, the others would be afraid of them. But he never thought that this young man in front of him would kill them without hesitation. Even when he died, he still didn't understand why this happened. The white soul power flashed and disappeared into Mu Yu's shadow sword. The life force of the three people gradually disappeared. Mu Yu's heart flashed with a trace of hostility. The power of slaughter seemed to be faintly flowing in his body. He calmed himself down and frowned slightly. Although he wouldn't feel guilty for killing people related to the Starry Sky sect, he seemed to have fallen in love with the feeling of killing. Ever since he used the power of slaughter several times in front of the monster race, he felt that there was something extra in his body. "Hey, it's time to eat." Little Shuai was stirring the pot with a spatula. He didn't even look up during the whole process. He was still focused on cooking. Okay. Mu Yu came back to his senses and glanced at the three corpses indifferently. Then he walked over to little Shuai and began to taste little Shuai's cooking as if there was no one around. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong on the side were already stunned. With just a casual move, he actually killed 3 Funshan stage cultivators. Just what was the background of this young man in front of them? After a long time, Xian Jingtang crawled up from the ground and looked at Mu Yu in shock. Many thanks for young Master Yufeng's help. And you guys hurry and leave," Mu Yu said without even raising his head. Actually, he didn't want to interfere in this matter. It was just that the word Stargate made him feel disgusted. Furthermore, Xian Jingtang and Xian Jingtang were upright people. Thus, he decided to help them. You are a body fusion stage cultivator?" Xian Sitong asked in shock. She suddenly recalled that she was still reprimanding Yufeng for stealing their graceful leopard. Now that she thought about it, she felt a lingering fear. Little Shuai picked up his chopsticks and ate happily. Muyu also didn't want to explain too much. He only waved his hands towards Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong, indicating for them to leave quickly. Xian Jingtang's heart palpitated as he looked at Muyu, quickly grabbing his hand and bowing to Muyu at the same time. Many thanks for Sir's help. Please forgive me if I offended you just now. Xian Sitong still wanted to ask some other questions. However, Xian Jingtang gave her a look. He obviously didn't like to be disturbed. If she continued to ask, it would be terrible if she angered him. They hurriedly walked back. Xian Sitong was still looking back at Muyu. If she didn't see it with her own eyes, she wouldn't believe that such a young person would have such strength. Wait, Muyu suddenly said. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong were shocked. When they saw Muyu mercilessly killing the three from Xingxiang Manor, they were shocked. Could it be that this young master in front of them wanted to silence them? Chapter 795. Xian Jingtang turned around and asked in a panic, "My lord, is there anything else?" Muyu pointed at the fleeting leopard on the ground and said, "You guys forgot to take your things." Xian Jingtang was stunned and quickly said, "My lord, please forgive us. We offended you just now and shouldn't have coveted your things. We don't dare to take this fleeting leopard anymore. Please don't blame us. There's nothing to covet. You guys bought this fleeting leopard from me, so it belongs to you now." Muyu had just received 120,000 spiritual stones from them. This could be considered a business transaction. "My lord, you must be joking. The fleeting leopard is worth more than 120,000 spiritual stones. How would we dare to offend you? Take the 120,000 spiritual stones as our compensation," Xian Jingtang said. "I sold the fleeting leopard for 120,000 spiritual stones. In my eyes, it's worth 120,000 spiritual stones. As for whether you guys want it or not, just let it rot there. I don't care," Muyu said. Xian Jingtang asked doubtfully, "My lord, are you really willing to sell the fleeting leopard to us for 120,000 spiritual stones?" If he could get a fleeting leopard for 120,000 spiritual stones, he would have really picked up a treasure. "I took the money. Naturally, I won't go back on my word," Muyu said indifferently. Xian Jingtang was overjoyed. Only then did he bring his daughter back to continue dealing with the fleeting leopard's body. Xian Sitong, on the other hand, walked over to the three people from Xingxiang Mansion and searched for their belongings. "My lord, do you know the identity of that Gong Xian? They're from Xingxiang Mansion. They're now under Stargate." Xian Jingtang couldn't help but ask. After dealing with the fleeting leopard's body, Xian Jingtang looked at the three people from Xingxiang Mansion lying in a pool of blood. Although he didn't show any sympathy, he was still a little worried. After all, Gong Xian was the young lord of Xingxiang Mansion. Now that he had joined Stargate, his status could be said to have risen. Xian Jingtang felt that he needed to remind this young man in front of him. "I don't want to know about a dead person," Muyu said indifferently. He had already killed the son of the Stargate's gatemaster, so why would he be afraid of a mere young lord of the Star Elephant Mansion? When Xian Jingtang saw Muyu's indifferent expression, he was also curious about Muyu's background. If Muyu did not care about the young lord of Xianxiang Mansion, it would be understandable. However, he did not seem to care about the Stargate at all. This made Xian Jingtang even more puzzled. Xian Jingtang quietly sized up Muyu again. He still couldn't recognize Muyu's identity, but he didn't dare to ask. Although the name Muyu was famous in the world of cultivation, not everyone had seen what he looked like. Xian Jingtang did not associate the young man in front of him with the disciple of the true God. "I'm sure that young master has heard what Gonggong Xian said and knows some things. We won't disturb you any further. Xian Jingtang felt that it was necessary to remind Gonggong Xian what the star gate behind him means. Although Gonggong Xian didn't seem to care, he couldn't not care. However, Xian Sitong suddenly ran over with Gonggong Xian's belongings and asked, "This Gonggong Xian has a lot of spiritual stones and treasures on him. Do you want them? Take them all away." Mu Yu wasn't interested in plundering other people's belongings. How could a severed soul stage cultivator's belongings be more precious than his own? Xian Sitong pouted and counted the belongings. 38 rank 5 demon spirits, an expensive flying sword that should be personally refined by a body integration stage cultivator, and a spiritual stone jade that's worth 1,000,000. Let me see how much it is. Heavens! There's 1,000,000? Xian Sitong covered her mouth. 1,000,000 spiritual stones isn't a small amount for a sect like theirs. If this spiritual stone jade were to be exchanged with 1,000,000 spiritual stones, then it would be much more precious than this graceful leopard. Mu Yu calmly tasted Xiao Shuai's stir-fried kidney. The two of them were eating with relish, as if they didn't hear Xian Sitong's words. "Sitong, we can't take this money," Xian Jingtang said to his daughter. "But father..." Xian Sitong seemed to have thought of something and her face became a little anxious. Xian Jingtang looked at Xian Sitong seriously. "Have you forgotten what father usually tells you?" Xian Sitong touched the spiritual stone jade pendant with some reluctance. She glanced at her father and finally placed the spiritual stone jade pendant on the ground. "I know, father. This money doesn't belong to us." Gonggong Xian's group was killed by Mu Yu. If there's someone who's most qualified to take this money, it's definitely not Xian Jingtang and his daughter, but Mu Yu. Xian Jingtang is an upright person. He also understands that getting a graceful leopard today is already an extra harvest. If he still wants these valuables, then it's a little too much. Xian Jingtang and his daughter are very principled. They took what belongs to them and left. Mu Yu didn't say anything from beginning to end. He also didn't look at the spiritual stone jade pendant. It's as if this jade pendant doesn't exist. In the forest, Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong were resting under a white birch tree. Because Xian Jingtang's arm fought with 2/5 celestial stage spirit severing stage cultivators, his old injury has reopened. Xian Sitong is bandaging it for him. After being scratched by the graceful leopard, it's a little troublesome for the wound to heal. I'm afraid it'll take a few days for it to heal. Xian Jingtang sighed. "Father, I didn't think that Gonggong Xian would have 1,000,000 spiritual stones on him." Xian Sitong's palm was covered with spirit energy as she healed the wound on her father's arm. 1,000,000 spiritual stones isn't much to someone like Mu Yu, but to some of the smaller sects it's quite precious. Sects like the Burning Sea sect and the Xingxiang Mansion are only mid-tier sections. They are far from being able to compare to the 8 sects and other large sections. A sect's savings is naturally far more than 1,000,000 spiritual stones. However, the sect's money is different from some of the families that specialize in business. The sect's money is centralized. Other than the sect master, it's impossible for others to casually have 1,000,000 spiritual stones. Gonggong Xian is the young master of the Xingxiang Mansion. Now that he's also relying on the Stargate, 1,000,000 spiritual stones feels like it's too little. Xian Jingtang pondered for a moment before replying. Xian Sitong's face revealed endless worry. 1,000,000 spiritual stones. Father, if we had 1,000,000 spiritual stones, I'm afraid we would be able to gather the money quickly. Mother suffered such heavy injuries. Sect Master Martial Uncle said that only the level 6 Taisher Purple Heaven Pill can heal her. However, the Taisher Purple Heaven Pill is too precious. One pill costs 5,000,000. Xian Jingtang laughed bitterly. "Ai. Father is useless. I couldn't protect your mother properly." "Father, don't blame yourself. It's all that despicable Yuman's fault. He actually dared to ambush us on our way here. I'm also a member of the Supreme Immortal Leaderboard now. I'll definitely teach Yuman a lesson in the future." Xian Sitong said through gritted teeth. After a while, Xian Sitong's expression became dispirited again. Father, actually, we could have tried to negotiate with that young master. He seems very easygoing. If we took that spiritual stone jade pendant, I don't think he would have said anything. Nonsense. Sitong, have you forgotten what I've always taught you? If it's ours, we must fight for it. If it's not ours, we shouldn't ask for it. That young master saved our lives and even sold us the graceful leopard at a low price. This is already a huge bargain. If we continue to push our luck, we'll be going against our principles. Xian Jingtang lectured his daughter in a serious manner. But special circumstances require special treatment. Mother's injuries can't be delayed any longer. If we continue to raise money like this, who knows when we'll be able to raise 5 million to buy the Taisha Purple Heaven pill? Xian Sitong muttered. Xian Jingtang's face revealed an incomparably desolate expression. Sitong, father promises you that I'll definitely raise 5 million spiritual stones. We can rely on our own abilities to earn money. Do you understand? Mu Yu slowly walked out from the forest and looked at the father and daughter with a calm expression. Since you're so short on money, why are you still giving me 120,000 spiritual stones? Xian Jingtang hurriedly stood up and respectfully said, Sir. Because that stage 6 graceful leopard can be sold for 500,000 spiritual stones on the market. Since the demon spirit was taken by you, it can only be sold for about 300,000 spiritual stones. After all, the graceful leopard wasn't killed by us. We don't want to take it for free. If we give you 120,000 spiritual stones, we can still earn 180,000 spiritual stones. My father said that a person must have a backbone and not be greedy for small gains. Xian Sitong straightened her body and said seriously, Backbone? Mu Yu thoughtfully nodded his head. He casually threw the spiritual stone jade pendant over and said, This is for you. Xian Sitong hurriedly caught the jade pendant, afraid that the jade pendant would break and not be able to be redeemed. She raised her head and asked curiously, Why are you giving it to us? Because you need help, little Shuai said as he gnawed on the thigh of the graceful leopard beside Mu Yu. Xian Sitong looked at the spiritual stone jade pendant in her hand. The temptation of this jade pendant was too great for her. However, she shook her head and said, My father just said that I can't accept a reward if it's not deserved. You should take it back. Xian Sitong returned the spiritual stone jade pendant to Mu Yu. Even though they know that they're short on money, they still don't want to go against their principles. They don't want to receive money that doesn't belong to them. Mu Yu took back the spiritual stone jade pendant and tossed it in his hand. After thinking for a moment, he asked, I seem to have heard you say that your mother was injured by Yuman. What happened? Xian Sitong thought of Yuman and felt a burst of anger. The 3 continents are becoming more and more chaotic. Just last month, Yuman suddenly attacked a city. At the time, we just happened to be in that city. My mother was burned by Yuman in order to cover our retreat. Yuman's flames are too terrifying. There's no way to extinguish them. Even now, they're still burning on my mother's body. The flames are burning on your mother's body. This was the first time Mu Yu had heard of this. The flames can't be extinguished? Mu Yu originally wanted to ask, Didn't the flames burn your mother to ashes? But after thinking about it, he didn't ask. Young master, don't you know? Some of the Huiyuming's flames used the spiritual energy of self-cultivators as fuel. Once a self-cultivator was ignited, unless their spiritual energy was exhausted, the flames would continue to burn. No one's spiritual energy would be able to resist the flames. If our spiritual energy is exhausted, our dantian will be the one burning, causing us to become crippled. The only thing that can extinguish these flames is the Taisha Purple Heaven pill. However, a 6th level pill is too expensive. We can't afford it. Xian Jingtang shook his head helplessly. Mu Yu wasn't very familiar with Hua Yuman before. Although he had fought with Hua Yuman before, in reality, it was Mu Ling and Shui Ling who had played a role in that battle. As for when they were in Mist Breath City, in order to extinguish the flames, Grandmaster Yao and the others had used the triple illusion array to destroy an area. Now that he thought about it, they really didn't use their spiritual energy to extinguish the flames. However, if they didn't use their spiritual energy to fight with Hua Yuman, how could cultivators defeat Yuman? Xian Jingtang seemed to have seen through Mu Yu's doubts and continued, "Sir, you might not be aware of this matter. In fact, the Triple Continent hasn't been attacked by Yuman for a long time, so most people have forgotten about Yuman's specific fighting strength. We only found out about it recently. In order for us to familiarize ourselves with the Yuming Devil clan, the Threefold Palace has left countless jade slips in every city in the cultivation world. Almost everyone has a copy of these jade slips, and they all contain detailed information about the Yuming Devil clan." As he spoke, Xian Jingtang handed a white jade slip to Mu Yu. Mu Yu took the jade slip. It was a communication item similar to a green jade. There was a memory array engraved on it, and it could directly transmit information to others through the array. After Mu Yu injected his spiritual qi into the jade strip, Yu Meng's information quickly flowed into his mind. Suddenly, a lot of information appeared in his mind. Most of the cultivators in the Triple Continent had already forgotten about the Yuman. This jade slip was specially made by the Triple Palace to tell cultivators how to deal with the Yuman. Yuman had 5 attributes: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Each type of Yuman was divided into 4 ranks: sky, earth, black, and yellow. This division was similar to how cultivators were divided into realms. Sky Yuman was the strongest, followed by Earth Yuman, Black Yuman, and Yellow Yuman. The most common Yuman were Yellow, Black, and Earth Yuman. These Yuman could control the 5 elements, and cultivators could use their spiritual energy to resist them. Sky Yuman were very difficult to deal with, and they were relatively rare. Normal cultivators couldn't resist their abilities. Take the Fire Yuman for example. Yellow, Black, and Earth Yuman couldn't ignite the spiritual energy of cultivators, so they were relatively easy to deal with. The flames that Hua Yu Meng controlled were enough to burn a self-cultivator's spirit energy. Therefore, if a self-cultivator wanted to use their spirit energy to deal with Hua Yu Meng, it was impossible. They would be burned to ashes by Hua Yu Meng. If a cultivator wanted to deal with a Sky Yuman, they had to be at least at the body fusion stage to ensure that their spiritual energy wouldn't be ignited. If they weren't at the body fusion stage, they couldn't deal with a Sky Yuman. Chapter 796. Once the heaven stage Hua Yu Meng's flame touched a cultivator's body, cultivators below the body integration stage would not be able to resist this flame. Their spirit energy would gradually burn, and once there was no more spirit energy to burn, then their body would burn. My mother was only touched by a little flame that day. It was only about the thickness of a finger, but it's still burning. Sect Master used a magic treasure to suppress the spread of the flame. Although this flame can't immediately take my mother's life, if we don't have the Taisha Purple Heaven pill in 3 months, I'm afraid. Xian Sitong said sadly. So you don't want the money to save your life? Mu Yu asked as he turned the spirit stone jade in his hand. Xian Sitong eagerly looked at the spirit stone jade pendant in Mu Yu's hand. To be honest, this spirit stone jade pendant was too important to them, but she had been taught by her parents since she was a child that she could not accept handouts, so she shook her head. How much do you still need? Mu Yu asked indifferently. Xian Sitong replied, Sect Master has already helped us gather 2 million, but because small sects have their own rules, we can't take out too much money, so Father and I came out to hunt demon beasts to earn money. As long as we hunt a few rank 6 demon beasts with our own abilities, we will definitely be able to buy the Taisha Purple Heaven pill if we sell them. In fact, when Xian Sitong said this sentence, she was not confident because she was only an out-of-body stage cultivator, and her father was only in the first sky of divinity stage cultivator. The strength of a rank 6 monster was equal to that of a divinity stage cultivator. Now that her father was injured, it was impossible for her to kill a rank 6 monster by herself. Mu Yu did not force it, and after a moment of silence, he said, "I understand." He did not say anything else, and directly left, disappearing into the forest. Xian Sitong looked at Mu Yu's back as he left, and a trace of disappointment appeared in her eyes. Spirit stones were too important to them. "Father, let's rest for an hour first. After an hour, we'll go look for other demonic beasts. This time, we'll hunt a 5th-order demonic beast." Xian Sitong looked at the wound on her father's arm with worry. Xian Jingtang sighed. The price of a 5th-order demonic beast is far less than that of a 6th-order demonic beast. It can only be sold for tens of thousands of spirit stones. The periphery of this forest is filled with 4th-order demonic beasts, and 6th-order demonic beasts are in the depths of the forest. However, there are also 7th-order demonic beasts in the depths of the forest. With our strength, it will be very dangerous to go there. In the beginning, the father and daughter pair also hunted rank 5 demonic beasts. However, there were very few rank 5 demonic beasts in the outskirts of the forest. Almost all of them had been hunted down by them. As for the rank 6 demonic beast, the fleeting panther, it was discovered by chance and was injured by a trap. Xian Sitong took out a bottle of water and handed it to her father. She said firmly, "No matter what, even if it's to kill a 4th-order demonic beast, I must gather enough spirit stones. There are still 3 months left. We will definitely be able to buy the Tier 6 Taisher Purple Heaven Pill from the Danding sect." Xian Jingtang smiled and nodded. People were poor, but they had to have a backbone. This was the principle he had always taught his daughter. The two rested in the forest for an hour. The wound on Xian Jingtang's arm had already stopped bleeding and was slightly better. Only then did they plan to continue looking for high-level demonic beasts. However, the two of them had not walked far when suddenly, a tremor came from the forest in front of them. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong were startled. They did not understand what was happening in the forest. "Father, what's going on?" Xian Sitong looked at her father in bewilderment. Even the slightest movement in the forest could not be underestimated because demonic beasts often appeared in the demonic beast forest. Some large movements could be caused by powerful high-level demonic beasts. Xian Jingtang listened carefully for a while. However, other than the big movement at the beginning, there were no other sounds. This made him very puzzled. If it was a fight between demonic beasts, why didn't he hear the roars of demonic beasts? "Let's go. Be careful. Let's go and take a look." Xian Jingtang thought for a moment. Then, he took his daughter and carefully groped in the direction of the source of the sound. They jumped onto the branches and were like light birds in the forest. Soon, they landed on a tree. The scene in front of them quickly shocked them. In the forest in front of them there was a big pit. Lying in the pit were 7 or 8 6th-order demonic beasts, including 6th-order Azure Steel Shadow Tiger, 6th-order Fire Fury Skywolf, 6th-order Autumn Shadow Double-Winged Eagle. These 6th-order demonic beasts had just died. "Father, why are there so many 6th-order demonic beasts here?" Xian Sitong was shocked. Different 6th-order demonic beasts had different prices. However, every complete 6th-order demonic beast could be sold for at least 500,000. This added up to a few million. Who the hell killed it? Xian Jingtang was also shocked. What they needed the most was 6th-order demonic beasts to save their lives. Suddenly, so many 6th-order demonic beasts' bodies appeared. Even the blood on the ground had not solidified. "I killed them casually." Mu Yu sat on the treetop and said. Xiao Shuai was sitting in his arms and yawning. You killed them casually?" Only now did Xian Jingtang and his daughter notice Mu Yu. Their faces were even more shocked. They didn't expect this young man and child to have such great ability. How long had it been? He actually killed so many high-order demonic beasts. However, Xian Jingtang quickly reacted. These high-order demonic beasts had owners. They weren't something they could touch. He quickly said, "Sorry, sir, for offending you. We don't have any other intentions. Goodbye." As he spoke, he was about to leave with his daughter. "Wait a minute. I need to ask you for a favor. Help me sell these demonic beasts. Then, I can lend you the money. How about it?" Mu Yu said indifferently. This, Xian Jingtang was shocked. He counted carefully. There were a total of 8 sixth-order demonic beasts in the pit. Among them, there were 2 seventh-order demonic beasts. When Xian Jingtang saw the 7th-order demonic beasts, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Only now did he understand Mu Yu's strength. A 6th-order demonic beast was worth at least 500,000 each. As for a 7th-order demonic beast, it could be sold for 5 million each. It was almost 10 times the price. This meant that as long as they helped Mu Yu sell these demonic beasts, Mu Yu would lend them the money. Then, they would be able to gather enough money to buy the Taisher Purple Heaven pill. "Sir Yufeng, this is not a small sum. If we want to return it, it would take a few years. You're really willing to lend it to us?" Xian Jingtang could not help but ask. "I'm not familiar with this area. Bring me to the city. Other than that, I need the 2 of you to help me gather information about Yuman. If the 2 of you are willing to do something for me, the money I'll lend you will be your service fee." Mu Yu was extremely generous. Meeting by chance was fate. Although Mu Yu did not have any obligation to help them, this father and daughter pair were still rather honest. Furthermore, at this time, Mu Yu also needed some people to help him gather information. Mu Yu's conditions were actually very simple. Gathering information was not a big deal to Xian Jingtang. However, to be able to obtain such a generous reward, he was extremely moved. "If the 2 of you aren't willing to help, forget it. We'll find someone else," Little Shuai said casually. Willing. We're willing to serve, sir." Xian Jingtang hurriedly agreed. "There's no need to call me sir. Just call me Yufeng. If you're willing, go and deal with these demonic beasts. After that, bring me to the city. Wherever the Yuman appears the most, we'll go there," Mu Yu said. He had not heard any news about Yuman for a long time. Currently, he was not very clear about the movements of the Yuman. He also wanted to know if Xiang Nan had any relationship with the Yuman. Thus, he had to go to the Yuman's place first. "Yes, sir. Yufeng, young Master Yufeng, to be honest, we often see Yuman's traces in the Eastern Sand City. My wife also met the Heaven Stage Huiyumeng there," Xian Jingtang said seriously. "All right, then let's go to the Eastern Sand City." Mu Yu did not have any objections. "Did you really hunt these demonic beasts?" Xian Sitong looked at Mu Yu in disbelief, and could not help but ask. "It should be. In any case, I didn't see anyone else nearby who would throw these demonic beasts into the hole I dug," Mu Yu said with a calm expression. Hunting a Class 6 demonic beast was a simple matter to him. But Xian Sitong did not understand Mu Yu's actions because Mu Yu did not have any need to help them. She wanted to ask Mu Yu why, but when she thought of her mother, she swallowed her words. If they were to work for others and receive spirit stones, they would be able to accept all of this. Xian Jingtang and his daughter quickly dealt with the Class 6 demonic beasts seriously. Only then did they leave the forest with Mu Yu. They headed to the city where Xian Xidong's mother had been attacked by Huiyumeng. Xiao Shuai was unhappy because he wanted to crawl back into Mu Yu's embrace and sleep. However, after leaving the Yao territory, Mu Yu told him not to turn back into a little beast. Many people in the cultivation world already knew that if Mu Yu followed a cute little fellow, it would expose Mu Yu's identity. If it was a child, it would not attract attention. Right now, He could only sit on his flying sword like Mu Yu and sleep on Mu Yu's thigh. Yu Feng, may I ask, which sect are you guys from? This little brother is so young, why did he follow you guys out? Xian Sitong could not help but ask. Mu Yu replied, us brothers depend on each other for survival. We don't belong to any sect. Right now, they were indeed wandering around with a pile of matters waiting for him to settle. It was not an exaggeration to say that they depended on each other for survival. Xian Jingtang secretly sized up Mu Yu. He was still very suspicious. Mu Yu looked like he was only around 20 years old. However, he was able to reach the body fusion stage. With such talent at such a young age, who would believe that he did not belong to any sect? Xian Jingtang was no fool. Right now, the supreme immortal ranking had caused a huge commotion in the 3 continents. Even if he had not seen every genius on the ranking, he still knew their names. He was sure that there was no such person as Yu Feng on the ranking. However, Xian Jingtang understood that this was their privacy. If they were not willing to say, then he would not dare to force them. Chapter 797. Following Xian Jingtang's directions, Mu Yu quickly brought the 2 of them to Dongsha City. In order to speed up their progress, Mu Yu flew with Xian Jingtang and his daughter the entire way. The East Sand City was still quite a distance away from the forest where they had met by chance. Because of the Yu Meng Devil clan's presence in the mountain range near the East Sand City, Xian Jingtang had to travel so far away to hunt demonic beasts just in case he bumped into them. With Mu Yu's speed, it took them about half a day to reach their destination. From afar, they could see a quaint city towering over an undulating mountain range. This city was quite large and was one of the famous cities in the cultivation world. From time to time, some cultivators would fly around in the sky above the city, patrolling something. There was also a long line at the city gate. Xian Jingtang explained, Dongsha City is now heavily guarded. There are countless Yuman in the nearby mountains. Because the terrain there is difficult to attack, it is easy for Yuman to defend. After a discussion, the 8 leaders of the 8 sects have decided to prohibit cultivators from going to the mountain range. Now, entering and exiting Dongsha City has to go through the city gate. Those people in the sky are the city's guards. They are specially sent to monitor the movements around the city. On the way here, Xian Jingtang had already told Mu Yu everything he knew in detail, including the current situation of the 3 continents and the various panic problems caused by the appearance of Yuman. Although the 8 leaders were not in Dongsha City at the moment, they had sent their outstanding disciples and elders to assist the city. Dongsha Mountain Range was 50 miles north of Dongsha City. In the past, there were many demon beasts in the mountain range, so many cultivators would go there to hunt them. However, at some point, countless Yuman had appeared in the mountain range. These Yuman seemed to be searching for something in the mountain range. Occasionally, they would leave the mountain range and clash with cultivators passing by. When the Yumeng Devil clan did not use the 5 elements, their appearance was no different from that of the human race. Therefore, once they put on human clothes, it was sometimes difficult for the self-cultivators to tell them apart. They could only rely on the city's protective formation to do so. However, when a Yuman clashed with a human, they would be exposed. As long as they used their ability to control the 5 elements slightly, they would turn into Yuman. Therefore, when differentiating between a Yuman and a human, they only needed to test the most basic technique. You said earlier that Yuman is looking for something? What exactly is it? Mu Yu asked. Xian Jingtang shook his head. We don't know, and neither do the cultivators. However, everyone was saying that they were looking for those 5 people. It's the prophecy that has been circulating in the cultivation world. 5 humans with Yuman's abilities will lead the war. I don't know if it's true or not. Mu Yu remained silent. How could Xian Jingtang know that the person in front of him was one of the 5 people? Do you believe this rumor? Xiao Shui yawned on Mu Yu's lap and asked. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong looked at each other, then shook their heads. Actually, we don't believe it. Many people think that the direction of this war should be decided by the palace master of the Threefold Palace and the last 9 extreme immortals, and not by 5 people. Humph, the Threefold Palace and the extreme immortals. Xiao Shui curled his lips in disdain. You might be right. Mu Yu didn't refute Xian Jingtang's words. Right now, the cultivators still believed that the Threefold Palace would lead everyone to defeat Yuman. They didn't know the dark side of the Threefold Palace, so it was understandable that they didn't know. However, Mu Yu was thinking about something else. He knew that Yuman wasn't here to look for them. He was probably looking for something else. It was impossible for the 5 of them to appear in a place like this. Even Mu Yu had decided to come here by chance. Yuman was probably gathering here for another purpose. Soon, they arrived at Dongsha City. The guards at the gate were all out-of-body stage cultivators. They were all disciples sent by the 8 gates to protect this city. There was an old man at the body fusion stage on the tower above the city gate. His eyes constantly scanned the cultivators coming and going, vigilantly guarding against Yuman sneaking in. The gate of the city was covered by a golden rune. Everyone who entered the city had to cross this rune. At the same time, they had to cast their spells in the rune. Once the Yumeng devils appeared in the rune would immediately turn into an entrapment formation and trap them. The cultivators entered the formation one by one in an orderly manner. Xian Jingtang and Mu Yu lined up at the end of the line. There were about 30 cultivators in front preparing to enter Dongsha City. There were also people coming from behind. The inspection process didn't take long. One only needed to send out a spirit energy attack. Soon, it was Mu Yu's turn. As he walked into the array pattern, Mu Yu casually waved his hand, and a cyan spirit chi shot out. The formation didn't react at all. After all, this level of formation couldn't do anything to him. After entering Dongsha City, they found that it was a very prosperous city. According to Xian Jingtang, Yuman often appeared here. However, Dongsha City was a famous trade center in the 3 continents. Thus, there was an endless stream of cultivators coming here. Uncle Xian, where do you usually sell your demon beasts? Mu Yu asked. It's the Beastmaster Pavilion. They evaluate the demon beasts fairly and then buy them for a certain price based on their grade and completeness. A rank 6 demon beast can be sold for a very high price. Xian Jingtang replied. Different parts of a demon beast had different uses. For example, some demon beasts' bones were used to refine magic treasures, which were sold to the blacksmith pavilion. Their hearts and blood were used to refine medicine, which was naturally sold to the Pill Cauldron School's 100 Herb Hall. Demon beasts that could strengthen the body and bones were sold to restaurants. As for demon spirits, they were very popular everywhere. Xian Jingtang was from this city. According to him, his Burning Sea sect had a piece of land here. He didn't say what it was for, but Xian Jingtang knew this city like the back of his hand. After taking 2 steps along the street, one could see a magnificent shop at the corner. It was made of red bricks and green tiles. There was a dragon statue next to it that was majestically looking at outsiders. However, this dragon was far inferior compared to the Azure Dragon Demon King and the Dragon Vine. This was clearly a figment of the imagination of cultivators. It was 50% less domineering and 70% less majestic than a real dragon. It's a good thing that the big earthworm isn't here or it would be mad at us again. Xiao Shui cheerfully smiled. Mu Yu didn't mind and followed Xian Jingtang's lead into the Beastmaster Pavilion. People came and went. Everyone had their own things to do, so no one paid attention to Mu Yu's group. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Mu Yu cast an appearance-changing array technique on her face. This array technique was deliberately cast by Mu Yu, but it was ineffective on Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong, but when others looked at Mu Yu, they would see another ordinary appearance. The hall was very spacious with a circular counter in the center. More than 10 workers were sitting behind the counter. They were here to answer the questions of the cultivators who came to trade. At this time, the counter was surrounded by cultivators who were inquiring about the price of demonic beasts. Muyu even heard a worker yelling at an old woman who seemed to be a little hard of hearing, "We don't accept rank 5 poisonous toads here. Aside from making poison, this thing has no other use. Even its demon spirit is filled with poison. It's useless." However, the old woman didn't seem to hear him. Her expression was a bit angry as she cursed. The worker didn't dare to retort. After all, he was only at the Jindan period while the old woman was at the out-of-body period. Xian Jingtang didn't go to the counter to ask the worker since he knew the rules of this place. He led Muyu to the other side of the hall. Muyu found that there were small rooms around the hall. There were workers guarding the door and the number of people in front of each room was different. Xiao Shuai had taken out a scroll from somewhere and was reading it carefully. "Xiao Shuai, what are you looking at?" Muyu curiously looked over. "I'm looking at the menu." Xiao Shuai rubbed his chin and said, "Menu." Muyu glanced at the words on the scroll and found that the scroll recorded the reference prices of various ranks of demon beasts, as well as some simple identification methods. Many demon beasts looked similar, but in fact they were completely different. The scroll was clearly marked on it, and it also explained how to identify them. "That's right. Look at the menu, it's densely packed with demonic beast breeds. I'm looking to see if there are any demonic beasts that I haven't eaten before so we can catch some next time," Xiao Shuai happily said. He had already seen the overview of edible demonic beasts, and was using his little finger to look at it line by line. Muyu helplessly shook his head. The demonic beast summary, scroll used by the Beastmaster camp to guide the customers, was called a menu by Xiao Shuai. This foodie's imagination was quite rich. The demonic beasts traded in each room are different. There are specialized people inside to identify them. After all, very few of the demonic beasts caught are alive. They are all killed before being sold. Some demonic beasts will undergo some changes after death, so it's easy to mistake them. When we came here a while ago, we heard that a worker from Beastmaster camp mistook a rank 2 giant python for a rank 6 copper-eyed snake and ended up losing several 100,000. Xian Jingtang said, "That guy is really unlucky." Muyu smiled faintly. A rank 2 monster was worth a dozen or so spirit stones at most. A rank 6 monster was worth 500,000 spirit stones. Beastmaster camp would probably suffer a huge loss. Yeah. That worker was scared out of his wits, and I don't know what happened to him after that. But it's not surprising. Rank 2 giant pythons and rank 6 copper-eyed snakes can't be identified after death, so it's normal for an inexperienced worker to make a mistake. That's why Beastmaster camp has been making a lot of new rules recently. It's very troublesome to trade now. I heard that all demonic beasts above rank 5 have to be appraised by severed soul beast appraisers, Xian Sitong explained. Beast appraiser was a profession in the cultivation world that specialized in appraising demonic beasts. Most beast appraisers were said to be disciples of the earthly imperial sect. Beastmaster camp was a property of the earthly imperial sect, so their familiarity with demonic beasts was second to none. They were also the most authoritative in this field. Muyu glanced at the rooms. The demonic beast's rank was written on the outside of each room. For example, the room in front of him had a rank 4 demonic beast written on it. This meant that this room specialized in rank 4 demonic beasts. There were no less than 30 cubicles in the hall. There were 10 cubicles for rank 1 to rank 3 demonic beasts, 9 for rank 4 demonic beasts, 8 for rank 5 demonic beasts, 2 for rank 6 demonic beasts, and 1 for rank 7 demonic beasts. The first to third rank demonic beasts booth had the most people, followed by the fourth rank demonic beasts booth. The 5th-rank demonic beast's booth only had 3 or 4 people in line. As for the 6th-rank demonic beast's booth and the 7th-rank demonic beast's booth, there were no cultivators waiting at the entrance. It was obvious that most of the demonic beasts here were low rank. Demonic beasts above rank 6 were too difficult to kill, especially rank 7 monsters. Rank 7 monsters lived deep in the forest and were extremely difficult to hunt. Even body fusion cultivators wouldn't dare to venture too deep into the forest because if they disturbed other rank 7 monsters, even a body fusion cultivator wouldn't be able to escape unscathed. After all, not everyone had Mu Yu's ability to kill monsters and hide in trees if they couldn't be killed. Of course, Mu Yu didn't have to expend much effort to deal with those monsters. With his current strength, he had yet to encounter a monster that he couldn't take care of. Young noble Yu Feng, since you killed 2 rank 7 monsters, you can be considered an esteemed guest of the Beastmaster camp. After all, rank 7 monsters are very rare. Even body fusion cultivators don't dare to have any ideas about them. Xian Jingtang said as he led Mu Yu to the 7th-order monster beasts trading cubicle. There wasn't even a worker in the 7th-order monster beasts trading cubicle. Just as they were about to push open the cubicle's door, a figure suddenly came down from the stairs and shouted, "Hey, stop! You guys are not allowed to go in." Mu Yu turned around and looked at the person who stopped them. This was an arrogant-looking man in his 30s. His cultivation base was at the 5th heavenly layer of the combination realm. He wore a blue robe with a vivid goshawk on his chest. The goshawk was flying high in the sky. This was the symbol of an Earth Emperor disciple. Most people in the cultivation world recognized it. When Xian Jingtang saw the eagle tattoo on the man's chest, he smiled politely and said, "Young master, we're here to trade with the demon beast. I know you are here to trade monsters. The rooms for rank 4 and rank 5 monsters are over there." The young man impatiently said. Xian Sitong stood out and said, "We are here to trade monsters." "You are here to trade monsters?" The man looked at Xian Sitong with disdain. Xian Sitong was only in the out-of-body stage, while Xian Jingtang had the strength of the first sky of Doppelganger realm. As for Mu Yu and Xiao Shui behind him, they looked like they had no cultivation. He sneered and said, "You guys can hunt a 7th-rank monster beast? Get the hell out of here. Don't make fun of me. Humph." Even cultivators at the form synthesis stage couldn't guarantee that they could kill a 7th-order demonic beast, let alone these country bumpkins. Chapter 798. Because Xian Jingtang and his daughter had been hunting demon beasts in the forest for several days, their clothes were in tatters. As for Mu Yu and little Shui, they usually dressed very casually and were not very conspicuous. Therefore, the man in front of them directly regarded them as country bumpkins. Xian Jingtang said, "Sir, we have indeed hunted 2 rank 7 monsters and are here to sell them." "Humph. Nowadays, just anyone dares to swindle our beast-taming abode. Do they really think our beast-taming abode is so easy to get away with?" The arrogant man said coldly. "Young Master Yi Feiying, what happened here?" A middle-aged man hurried over and asked the arrogant man respectfully. "Yi Feiying? You're the genius of the Earth Emperor sect, Yi Feiying?" Xian Jingtang was shocked. When he thought of the eagle emblem on the man's chest and his age and cultivation level, Xian Jingtang's expression changed slightly. "That's right. This is young Master Yi Feiying of our Earth Emperor sect, ranked 27th on the Supreme Immortal Leaderboard." The middle-aged man straightened his back and introduced Yi Feiying to Xian Jingtang and the others. The middle-aged man's name was Yu Wenyang and he was the steward of beast-taming abode. His cultivation level was at the first layer of the form synthesis stage, and he was in charge of all matters in beast-taming abode. Facing a supreme immortal ranked 27th, Xian Jingtang didn't dare to be arrogant. "I'm Xian Jingtang of the Burning Sea sect. Greetings, young Master Yi." Yifei said disdainfully. I don't know what the Burning Sea sect is, but don't try to play tricks on my Earth Emperor sect's territory. Yuan Yang, how do you do your job? Haven't you learned your lesson from the scandal that happened in Beast Taming Abode last time? Yifei's status was obviously higher than Yuan Yang's. Yuan Yang quickly lowered his head and said fawningly, Please calm down, young Master Yi. What happened last time was our fault. I promise that it won't happen again. Previously, when a beast appraiser treated a rank 2 monster as a rank 6 monster, Beastmaster Camp's reputation was tarnished. Yuan Yang was partly to blame for that. Yuan Yang turned around and said to Xian Zhengtang and the others in a condescending manner, Dear guests, this is a rank 7 demonic beast transaction room. You should choose a suitable transaction according to your own ability. Don't be opportunistic. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask the staff at the counter. We don't welcome customers who cheat. Yuan Yang glanced at the cultivation base of Xian Zhengtang and the others, once again skipping over Mu Yu and Little Shuai. They don't believe that Xian Zhengtang, who is in the spirit severing stage, can hunt a rank 7 monster beast. Supervisor Yu, we're really here for the 7th rank demonic beast. Xian Zhengtang said anxiously. 7th rank monster beast. You think you can hunt a 7th order demonic beast? What a joke. What qualifications do you have? Yifei sneered. We. Xian Zhengtang was exasperated. Mu Yu gestured to Xian Zhengtang not to be anxious and then said lightly, Why do you think we don't have the ability to hunt a 7th order demonic beast? If you don't have the ability, don't you allow others to have the ability? How dare you? Who do you think you are? Do you know who is standing in front of you? Yuan Yang rebuked angrily. Mu Yu glanced at Yuan Yang indifferently. Then who do you think you are? You don't even look at me and directly drive me away? Is this your way of doing business? Boy, do you want to die? Say it again. Yuan Yang flew into a rage out of humiliation. It was the first time he was scolded by a young man who seemed to be in the out-of-body stage. Although his status in the Earth Emperor sect was not as high as Yifei's, he was still in the combination stage. No one in the cultivation world dared to be disrespectful to him. How could he swallow his anger after being scolded by a nameless boy? A powerful aura instantly poured down on Mu Yu's body like a storm, but Mu Yu was like a stabilizing needle in the storm, standing firm and unmoving. Open a business. Do you rely on intimidation and aura to force your customers? Mu Yu frowned. At this time, the commotion attracted many cultivators who came to the Beastmaster camp to do business. Many people recognized the genius disciple of the Earth Emperor sect, Yifei. As for Yuan Yang, there was no need to talk about this matter. Mu Yu used an appearance-changing formation on his face, so the surrounding cultivators did not recognize him. Mu Yu didn't want to cause a big commotion, so he suppressed his cultivation to a very low level. However, he really couldn't stand Yifei's arrogant tone and didn't understand what he was so proud of. Manager Yu, what are you doing? Someone in the crowd couldn't help but ask. Yuan Yang was also afraid of causing a big commotion, but at this time, there were so many customers here. If he didn't give an explanation, it wouldn't be right, so he solemnly said, Everyone, please don't misunderstand. These people deliberately came to cause trouble. I am only sending them off right now. Everyone, please disperse. Don't delay your own business. So you didn't even look at us to determine that we didn't have a 7th order demonic beast? You casually gave us the title of troublemakers? Mu Yu lightly said. Everyone heard Mu Yu's words clearly, but when they found out that Mu Yu's group was here to trade for a 7th order demonic beast, their faces revealed strange expressions. Some people even directly laughed. Did I hear wrong? These people came to trade for a 7th order demonic beast? Who do they think they are? They think they can kill a 7th order demonic beast just because they want to? That's right, keep dreaming. The surrounding self-cultivators naturally came to the Beastmaster camp to trade demonic beasts. Seventh-order demonic beasts were actually very rare in the Beastmaster camp because they were very powerful and had treasures all over their bodies. To be able to kill a seventh-order demonic beast, one had to be at the body integration stage. This was known to all. The majority of body integration cultivators knew the value of goods. A seventh-order demonic beast's fur, bones, and demonic spirit were all sacrifices. If they could kill a seventh-order demonic beast, they would definitely keep it for themselves. Why would they sell it? This group of people's cultivation hadn't even reached the body integration stage, yet they actually dared to claim to have killed a seventh-order demonic beast. What a joke. Manager you, I think you should hurry up and kick them out. Last time, a customer used a second-order demonic beast to pass off as a sixth-order one. Don't let the same thing happen again. That's right. This time, don't use a first-order demonic beast to pass off as a seventh-order one. That would be a huge loss. A customer loudly shouted. This matter was no longer a secret. Because of this, the reputation of the Beastmaster camp was greatly damaged. Because of this, many of the trading rules had been changed recently. The procedures had also become troublesome, causing some of the old customers to be very dissatisfied. Yuan Yang was also annoyed after hearing the words of these customers. Last time, because of this matter, he was fiercely scolded by the sect master of the Earth Emperor Gate. He made up his mind that no matter what, he would not let the same thing happen again. Everyone, please leave. Our Beastmaster camp is small and cannot accommodate your seventh-order demonic beast. We will not do this business, Yuan Yang solemnly said. Xian Jingtang impatiently wanted to take out the two seventh-order demonic beasts to prove himself, but he was stopped by Mu Yu, directly chasing away the customers without even seeing the goods. This kind of hospitality and business method made Mu Yu feel very disgusted. Even if he had suffered a great loss before, but looking down on others because of this was the stupidest way to do things. Mu Yu did not need to put the demonic beasts in a place like this. There were many people who knew their goods, not just the Beastmaster camp. Let's go, Mu Yu insipidly said. But young noble Yu Feng. Xian Jingtang was a bit hesitant. There is no need to worry about not having a place to sell good goods. Mu Yu faintly smiled. Xian Jingtang gritted his teeth and didn't say anything in the end. He pulled his daughter and followed behind Mu Yu. At this time, Yi Feiying's strange voice came. Manager Yu, in the future, when you meet these lowly bumpkins, just directly throw them out, understand? Our Beastmaster camp is not a place where any Tom, Dick, or Harry can come and scam us. Yes. Young noble Yi, next time we meet these kinds of people, I will not show mercy. Yuan Yang straightened his back. Xiao Shui suddenly couldn't take it anymore. He turned around and pointed at Yi Feiying's nose. A bunch of short-sighted, snobbish bastards. It's fine if you are short-sighted, but how can you be so self-righteous? Yi Feiying's eyes turned cold. Little brat, are you so uneducated? He was ranked 27th on the Supreme Immortal rankings, yet he had been insulted by a little kid who looked to be only 3 or 4 years old. If it wasn't for the fact that he was worried that it would be beneath his dignity to teach a little kid a lesson in front of so many people, he would have killed him a long time ago. I'm uneducated, but you are? Do you use your education on dogs? You are allowed to scold people as you wish, but others are not allowed to scold you? Xiao Shui was not afraid at all. Little brat, don't talk nonsense. Otherwise, you can't blame others if you are beaten to death. Yeah. He is the 27th genius of the earthly imperial sect. You are so cute, how can you be so immature? The surrounding self-cultivators all criticized Xiao Shui's rudeness. Obviously, they had neglected one thing. Yi Feiying was the one who scolded Mu Yu and the others first. But now, the surrounding crowd chose to scold Xiao Shui for being uneducated. Mu Yu glanced at the crowd indifferently, especially at Yifei. Then, a faint smile appeared on his face. With a flash of light in his hand, he threw a demon spirit to Xiao Shuai. "Brother, do you want to eat a demon spirit to cool down?" Mu Yu asked. As soon as the demon spirit appeared in Mu Yu's hand, rich spiritual energy poured out from it. A powerful 7th-rank demon spirit circled around Xiao Shuai's hand. The appearance of the 7th-rank demon spirit made everyone's heart skip a beat. 7th-rank demon spirit. It really was a 7th-rank demon spirit. Everyone was stunned. But what shocked them even more was that Xiao Shuai suddenly picked up the 7th-rank demon spirit, put it in his mouth, and chewed. "Brother, I'm tired of demon spirits. They don't taste good." Then, he spat it out. He took a bite out of a 7th-rank demon spirit and then spat it out? Everyone almost went crazy. This 4-year-old kid actually took a bite out of a 7th-rank demon spirit and spat it out? That was a 7th-rank demon spirit. Everyone felt that Xiao Shuai's bite on the demon spirit was like biting their hearts. A 7th-rank demon spirit was a rare treasure in the cultivation world. How could it be wasted like this? Their hearts were practically dripping blood. Chapter 799. Even in the entire Eastern Sand City, 7th-order demon spirits were extremely rare. One had to know that a 7th-order demon spirit was comparable to a body integration stage cultivator. Body integration stage cultivators were the pillars of the various large sections. A body integration stage cultivator could practically run amok in the cultivation world. A 7th-rank demon spirit was the condensation of a demon spirit's life essence. If Xiao Shuai could refine the 7th-rank demon spirit in his hand, he would be able to reach the next level in his cultivation. A rank 7 demon spirit has a wide range of uses. It can be used to refine high-level pills, it can also be used as the foundation of a formation, and it can even be used as a spiritual energy treasury for cultivation. Absorbing a 7th-rank demon spirit was equivalent to absorbing the life essence of a body integration cultivator. Just thinking about it made one realize how terrifying it was. 7th-rank demon beasts were all gathered in the depths of the forest. Even a body integration cultivator wouldn't dare to go in alone because it wasn't as simple as meeting a 7th-rank demon spirit. They originally thought that Mu Yu's group was only here to scam the Beastmaster camp. Who would have thought that they would actually be able to take out a 7th-rank demon spirit? Moreover, it was being eaten by a 3 to 4-year-old child like a spirit stone. However, everyone soon realized a terrifying fact. Demon spirits were extremely hard. They were the condensation of a demon spirit's life essence. Only those of the same level could break a demon spirit. This meant that a 7th-rank demon spirit could only be destroyed by a body integration cultivator. How could a 3 to 4-year-old child bite it? Just who was he? "I don't want to eat it anymore. Brother, let's sell it somewhere else?" Xiao Shuai returned the 7th-rank demon spirit to Mu Yu. There were even teeth marks left by Xiao Shuai on the demon spirit. Mu Yu tossed the demon spirit in his hand and nodded. "Let's go!" "Stop!" Yifei shouted and blocked the path of Mu Yu's group. Mu Yu raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, "A good dog doesn't block the way." Whoosh! As soon as Mu Yu's words left his mouth, an uproar broke out among the spectators. Yifei was a genius ranked 27th on the Supreme Immortal rankings. He was an existence that everyone adored. However, he had actually been called a dog by Mu Yu? Yifei's face was sullen. "Say that again. A good dog doesn't block the way. Don't you understand?" Mu Yu repeated calmly. This time, Yifei was embarrassed. He thought that his threat would make the other party afraid, but who would have thought that Mu Yu really scolded him again? If he let Mu Yu go like this, then his reputation would be ruined. Such a big tone, daring to spout such nonsense in front of our camp? Fei furiously rebuked. Yifei's cultivation suddenly spread out, causing the spectators' expressions to change greatly. They couldn't help but back off. They knew that Yifei was truly angry. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong were also very anxious. Mu Yu might not know who Yifei was, but they knew very well. In the 8 gates of the cultivation world, geniuses were divided by age. For example, Tian Bu-Wai and Sikong Chiwen, who caused a lot of commotion in Qinshui City, became famous when they were in the severed soul stage because they were relatively young, only 25 or 26 years old. Severed soul stage cultivators around 25 or 26 years old were quite rare in the cultivation world. There were also geniuses who had been famous for a long time. Although they were in their 30s, they were famous in the cultivation world when they were in their 20s. It wasn't an exaggeration to call them geniuses now. The supreme immortal rankings required cultivators under the age of 40 to be on it. Even if they were 39 years old, they could still be called geniuses. Yifei was such a person. He was praised by everyone in his 20s and was still a famous genius even now. However, such a genius was actually scolded by an unknown person? Who is this person? He dares to provoke Yifei like this? I don't know, maybe he's a country bumpkin who hasn't seen the world. I'm afraid he's in trouble now. How can a country bumpkin have a 7th-order demon spirit? This doesn't make sense. Judging from his out-of-body stage spiritual energy fluctuation, he must have encountered a dying rank 7 demonic beast and obtained its demonic spirit. The spectators pointed at Mu Yu. They all thought that Mu Yu didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth and would pay the price for provoking Yifei. Mu Yu only looked at Yifei's monstrous aura. He didn't even move his clothes as he sneered. What? Your Beast Master camp wants to attack a customer? Are you trying to force a deal? Is this how the Beast Master camp does business? Yifei clenched his fists and coldly shouted, You came to our Beast Master camp's territory and scolded people. I will teach you a lesson today. Are you crazy? Who scolded people first? Why is your face so thick? Little Shuai asked with his hands on his waist. Everyone knew who was the one who scolded people. Yifei said that Mu Yu's group was here to swindle people and wanted to chase them away. Now, he was stopping Mu Yu's group. No one knew what he was doing. Young Noble E, we are in the wrong today, please don't be angry. Yu Wenyang was the manager of the camp and was calmer than the arrogant Yifei. He quickly stood next to Yifei and tried to persuade him. Last time, there was a scandal of a 2nd-rank demon beast being sold as a 6th-rank one. If they were to be accused of forcing a deal, now, it would be a heavy blow to the camp. Yifei couldn't swallow this anger, but he still withdrew his aura and snorted. I'll let you go today. I don't even need to think to know that you have a 7th-rank demon spirit of unknown origin. Who knows where you stole it? Our Beastmaster camp doesn't accept demon beasts of unknown origin. Mu Yu didn't become angry and slowly replied, What? When your Beastmaster camp is doing business, you need to ask the customer in detail about the location and steps of the hunt. Do you need to show evidence to prove that the demon beast was killed by you? Mu Yu's words left the surrounding cultivators with strange smiles. Normally, the Beastmaster camp wouldn't care about how the other party obtained the demon beast. They would directly appraise the beast's quality and integrity before calculating the total value. Why would they care about whether the demon beast was stolen or not? You! Yifei choked and didn't know how to respond. He only wanted to say something nice to show that the Beastmaster camp was fair and just. Who would have thought that Mu Yu would mock him again? If your Beastmaster camp has the time to care about other people's demonic beasts, why don't you spend it on dealing with people and customers? Especially learning how to appraise demon beasts. Don't sell 2nd-rank demon beasts as 6th-rank demon beasts again. Mu Yu said with a tinge of regret as he walked straight towards Yifei. Yifei was furious, but he couldn't find a reason to attack. Seeing Mu Yu come closer and closer, He didn't want to give way, but when he met Mu Yu's pure eyes, his vision suddenly blurred. It was as if he saw an endless sea of blood and mountains of bones, filled with a terrifying aura of slaughter. He couldn't help but shiver, subconsciously opening a path for Mu Yu. Little Shuai walked to the front and made a face at Yifei with disdain. Xian Jingtang and his daughter quickly followed, afraid that they would be stopped by the people from the Beastmaster camp. However, when Mu Yu was halfway there, he suddenly said, "There is one more thing I forgot to say. About how I obtained a 7th-rank demon spirit." Mu Yu turned his head and glanced at everyone. Finally, his eyes fell on Yifei. "What does it have to do with you?" Everyone was stunned by Mu Yu's straightforward words. Yifei was furious and wanted to rush over to teach Mu Yu a lesson, but Mu Yu had already left the camp and disappeared into the street. "Bastard! I won't let this go easily." Yifei is furious. At this time, Yuanyang suddenly whispered in Yifei's ear, "Young noble Yi, if we take action today, it will be a huge blow to the Beastmaster camp's reputation. I have an idea, we don't need to do it ourselves, you only need to." Yifei slightly nodded with a sneer on his face. He then loudly said to the cultivators who haven't left, "Everyone, go do your own business. By the way, our Beastmaster camp's purchasing price for 7th-rank demon spirits is very high. The minimum price is 6 million. Just one 7th-rank demon spirit alone can be sold for 3 million. If anyone has a 7th-rank demon spirit, you are welcome to sell it to our camp." After pausing for a bit, Yifei added, "Our attitude towards that customer earlier was indeed a bit excessive. I sincerely apologize for that. That customer was right about one thing. We do not care about the origin of demon spirits, only the price. Next time, we will not make things difficult for you." Yifei sincerely apologized, but this apology had a different meaning in the ears of others. A 7th-rank demon beast was very hard to find. Normally, a 7th-rank demon spirit would be sold for 5 million, and this was including the price of a 7th-rank demon spirit. If he were to sell the Class 7 demon spirit, he would only get 2 million. However, Yifei directly raised the price of the Class 7 demon spirit and the Class 7 demon beast by 1 million. For the Beastmaster camp, even if they spent 1 million to buy a 7th-rank demon spirit or a 7th-rank demon beast, it would still not be a loss. This was because the price of a 7th-rank demon spirit and a 7th-rank demon beast would definitely be higher. A 7th-rank demon beast was very hard to kill. None of the cultivators here had the ability to do so. If they had a body integration cultivation, they would have already been a guest elder of a big sect, who would come here to trade. Although the Beastmaster camp's price was very high, everyone could only look up to them. But was this really the case? Everyone couldn't help but look towards the exit of the Beastmaster camp. Chapter 800. After leaving the Beastmaster camp and returning to the bustling street, Mu Yu wasn't worried at all when he saw all kinds of cultivators. If he really wanted to sell a Class 7 demon spirit, he wouldn't have to worry about not having a place to sell it. The father and daughter pair, Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong, were also feeling uneasy. From time to time, they would turn their heads to look behind them. This was because, as early as 7 or 8 minutes ago, a group of malicious cultivators had suddenly appeared behind them and had been following them. "Young noble, I'm afraid we're in trouble," Xian Jingtang whispered. Mu Yu disapprovingly said, "What's so troublesome about it?" He had already noticed the cockroaches and rats behind them. He didn't even need to think to know that they had their eyes on his things. However, those with weak cultivations who dared to target him wouldn't have a good ending. Xian Jingtang secretly sighed in his heart. "You really are an ignorant disciple who came out to gain experience. Do you really not understand, or are you just pretending? You should pay attention to not showing off your wealth. Young noble, do you know who Yifei is?" Xian Jingtang was most worried about provoking a monster like the Beastmaster camp. That was a genius of the Earth Emperor sect, not something a small sect like theirs could afford to offend. Who cares who he is? He looks like a brainless person. If he dares to cause trouble, we'll beat him up, Xiao Shuai said without a care. Xian Jingtang helplessly looked at Xiao Shuai. There was nothing he could do about Xiao Shuai's blabbering. Even so, Xian Jingtang still felt that he had to clarify things with Mu Yu. Young noble, not only did you offend Yi Feiying of the Earth Emperor sect, you were also targeted by so many people. A Class 7 demon spirit is a hot potato right now. Oh, so you're talking about this matter? It's fine, Uncle Xian, nothing will happen. Mu Yu gently smiled. Xian Jingtang looked at Mu Yu's indifferent and fearless appearance and became even more worried. He was worried to death, but this young noble didn't even know that he had caused trouble. Although he knew that this young man should also be at the form synthesis stage, he looked to be in his early 20s, so he should be at the early stage of the form synthesis stage. How could he compare with Yi Feiying, who had been famous for a long time? Xian Jingtang hadn't seen all the geniuses on the Supreme Immortal list, but he was sure that some of the onlookers were more knowledgeable than him. However, none of them recognized Mu Yu. If this young master was famous enough, it was impossible for a genius like Yi Feiying to not know him. However, Yi Feiying did not know Mu Yu's identity, which made Xian Jingtang more certain of one thing. This young master Yufeng should be some extreme immortal who had just stepped into the body fusion stage not long ago. He wasn't very famous and couldn't be compared to a genius like Yi Feiying. In his heart, he still thought that Mu Yu's words to Yi Feiying just now were a little exaggerated. But how could Xian Jingtang know that the reason others couldn't recognize Mu Yu's appearance was because Mu Yu had set up an illusion array for himself? When others looked at Mu Yu's face and Xian Jingtang's father and daughter's face were different. It could be said that everyone saw Mu Yu differently. This was the power of the 100 Faces illusion array. If everyone were to draw a portrait of Mu Yu, they would draw a different Mu Yu. These light illusion arrays were the best way for Mu Yu to disguise himself. Aya, uncle, we're not in a hurry. Why are you in a hurry? Don't worry. If anything happens, I'll protect you, Xiao Shuai said carelessly. Xian Jingtang smiled helplessly. He was also very fond of this cute child, Xiao Shuai. He said, "Young master, you're right. I was worrying too much." He had already made up his mind. If something happened to Mu Yu because of Yi Feiying's revenge, he would definitely protect this child, Xiao Shuai. Along the way, Xian Sitong looked at Mu Yu suspiciously. She seemed to be thinking about something, but she was very uncertain. Mu Yu noticed Xian Sitong's strange behavior and asked, "Young lady, you've been staring at me the whole way. Is there something dirty on my face?" Mu Yu's 100 Faces illusion array was ineffective against Xian Sitong and Xian Jingtang. The father and daughter saw Mu Yu's true face. Xian Sitong hesitated for a moment and then said, "I think you're very unusual." Mu Yu listened to this brainless praise and spread out his hands. He didn't know what this young lady wanted to say, so, "Why aren't you worried when facing the upcoming danger? Do you really not know who Yi Feiying is? He's a genius of the earthly imperial sect. Even the head of our Burning Sea sect doesn't dare to be arrogant in front of Yi Feiying," Xian Sitong said seriously. "Then what do you think I should do when I face him?" Mu Yu found it a little funny. Yi Feiying was just a super immortal at the combination stage. He had even killed a few cultivators at the crossing calamity stage. How could he care about a self-righteous guy like Yi Feiying? "I know you're very powerful, but the earthly imperial sect is one of the 8 sects. You won't have a good ending if you offend him." Xian Sitong emphasized the words 8 sects. For the Burning Sea sect, the 8 sects were high mountains that they could look up to and could make them breathless. After all, the head of the Burning Sea sect was only at the combination stage. There were many people at the combination stage in the 8 sections. However, how could Mu Yu care about the 8 sects? His enemy was the threefold palace. Strictly speaking, the 8 sects were just tools of the threefold palace. If you're worried about being dragged down by me, you can take the 1 million and leave directly. I won't say anything. Mu Yu originally helped Xian Jingtang and his daughter because these two people were upright and not overly greedy. They won Mu Yu's favor, so he casually helped them. He also didn't want to bring more trouble to the father and daughter. Young master, what are you saying? We're not the kind of people who are afraid of death. We won't worry about being dragged down by you. Not only did you save our lives in the forest, but you're also willing to help us. We can't thank you enough. Why would we run away? Xian Jingtang said solemnly. Don't worry. Father and I will definitely think of a way to help you. Xian Sitong gritted her teeth. When she said this, she was actually not very confident. Yifeiying's reputation was too great. If the earthly imperial sect wanted to destroy the Burning Sea sect, it would be a piece of cake. Help me! Mu Yu blinked and didn't say anything. This father and daughter pair were really honest people. Don't worry. We often meet people like Yifeiying and beat them up. Little Shuai happily walked a few steps and wanted to jump on Mu Yu's back. He wanted to be carried by Mu Yu. Can't you walk properly? Mu Yu was helpless. When little Shuai was still a little beast, he liked to sleep in Mu Yu's pocket and never walked by himself. Even after turning into a human, he was still lazy. No, I can't walk. Little Shuai snorted while lying on Mu Yu's back. Xian Jingtang quickly said, Little young master, let me carry you? Little Shuai happily smiled and said, Okay, it's the same no matter who carries me. Wait, I want to ride on your neck. As he spoke, he nimbly jumped onto Xian Jingtang's shoulder. Xian Jingtang also liked Xiao Shuai's naughty look, so he didn't think it was a big deal for a 3-year-old child to ride on his neck. Right, Uncle Xian, outside of the beast-taming camp, are there any other places to sell demonic beasts? Mu Yu asked. Xian Jingtang hesitated for a moment and said, Actually, outside of the beast-taming camp, there is another place. Xian Jingtang seemed to have something hard to say as he stopped talking. Then let's go to that place, Mu Yu said. Xian Jingtang awkwardly said, I won't hide it from young master, there is actually a demonic beast trading place in Eastern Sand City called the Xian Beast Workshop. It is our Burning Sea Sect's business. Your Burning Sea Sect's business? Then why did you bring me to the beast taming camp? Isn't your place fine? Mu Yu looked at Xian Jingtang with a puzzled expression. Xian Jingtang wryly smiled and said, Our Xian Beast Workshop can't compare to the beast taming camp, so our business has always been bad. Normally, we only deal with 3rd and 4th rank demonic beasts, and the amount involved in each transaction is at most a few thousand. Young master, the demonic beasts you hunt are at least of the 6th rank. This means that there are several million worth of transactions. This is an astronomical figure for our Xian Beast Workshop. We can't take out that much money, so I can only bring you to the beast taming camp. Both were demonic beasts, but the Xian Beast Workshop was too lacking compared to the beast taming camp. They were simply not on the same level. No wonder your appraisal of the graceful leopard was so accurate. Even your method of dealing with demonic beasts was so professional. So it turns out that you are also experts. Mu Yu thoughtfully nodded his head. We sometimes buy 6th rank demonic beasts, but with our financial resources, the price is much lower than the beast taming camp. We don't want young master to suffer a loss. Xian Jingtang earnestly said. In fact, Xian Jingtang could see that Mu Yu didn't know anything about the price of demonic beasts. He probably wouldn't haggle over the price no matter how much he sold. If Xian Jingtang wanted to play a little trick, it would be more than enough. Xian Jingtang could take Mu Yu to their Xian Beast Workshop first and buy Mu Yu's 6th rank demonic beast at a low price. Then, he would use the excuse of collecting spirit stones to stall Mu Yu for a few hours. He would quickly take the 6th-rank demonic beast to the beast-taming camp and secretly sell it at a high price. After deducting the low price paid to Muyu, their Xian Beast Workshop would be able to make a huge profit. Not only would they have enough money to buy pills, but they would also be able to improve the business of the Xian Beast Workshop. However, Xian Jingtang didn't do this. He was already very satisfied to be able to obtain Mu Yu's help. He never thought of making a huge profit from Mu Yu, this seemingly inexperienced hothead. Thus, he chose to directly take Mu Yu to the beast-taming camp and sell him for as much as he wanted without playing any trick. You father and daughter pair are very honest. Mu Yu also thought of this point. He was quite moved by Xian Jingtang and his daughter's actions. There were still many good people in this world. Young master, it seems that you are very good at hunting demonic beasts. Have you never sold the demonic beasts you hunted before? Xian Jingtang couldn't help but ask. No. Normally, 6th-rank demonic beasts are for us to eat. If we can't finish them, we will just throw them away. My little brother likes to eat 7th-rank demonic beasts, and he also likes to eat fast ones because their legs are tougher. However, I am not picky about 7th-rank demonic beasts. Mu Yu indifferently said. Not picky about 7th-rank demonic beasts? Chapter 801. Let alone a 7th-order demonic beast, ordinary cultivators would have to spend a lot of effort just to catch a 6th-order demonic beast. Every time they killed a demonic beast, they would carefully preserve it. If possible, they wouldn't even want to leave behind a single strand of hair. But these demon beasts were just food in the hands of Mu Yu and little Shuai. Xian Jingtang swallowed his saliva. It was truly infuriating. If our profound beast workshop could be compared to the beast-taming abode, then we wouldn't have to worry about the money to buy pills to save my mother. Xian Sitong said with a gloomy expression. Mu Yu pondered for a moment. Since it was fate that brought them together, and Xian Jingtang was a good person, Mu Yu decided to help this father and daughter pair. Let's go to your profound beast workshop. Xian Jingtang was shocked. Young master, our profound beast workshop doesn't have the funds to buy your rank 6 and 7 demon beasts. It's fine, just treat it as me investing. Let me ask you first, how do you deal with the demon beasts after you buy them? Mu Yu asked. Xian Jingtang honestly replied, we're doing small business. Ordinary rank 4 demon beasts only have a few thousand spirit stones in the transaction account. Most of the low-rank demon beasts are useless after being processed. However, the demon beasts that can be eaten are sold to restaurants, the organs and blood that can be used as herbs are sold to the Pill Cauldron sect, and the bones are sold to the weapon refining pavilion. Every demonic beast was dismembered and sold separately. Depending on the rank of the demon beast, the processing time is also different. I'm afraid it will take a few days to process a rank 6 demon beast. It's fine, don't be in a hurry to pay me the spirit stones. It won't be too late to pay me after you've dealt with the demon beast. Mu Yu didn't have any concept of spirit stones. He never lacked spirit stones to spend, and he was more willful when he had money. Xian Jingtang was overjoyed. Young master, you're really willing to give this business to us? In any case, I definitely won't give it to the beast-taming abode. Mu Yu faintly smiled. Rank 7 demon beast, this matter will definitely attract a lot of attention. It's fine. If there's a fly or a mosquito, I'll help you kill it. Mu Yu glanced at the self-cultivators who were still coveting his rank 7 demon beast spirit and walked forward in large strides. The profound beast workshop was indeed far inferior to the beast-taming abode. The beast-taming camp store was luxurious with people coming and going. Just the workers alone numbered in the dozens. Cultivators who went to trade came in an endless stream. However, the Xian Beast Workshop store was shabby and only had one worker, completely deserted. When Mu Yu and the others arrived at the profound beast workshop, a cultivator had just walked out of the shop. His expression was very dissatisfied, as if his business had not been completed. Red Mountain, we're back. Come out and welcome the guests. Xian Sitong took the lead and walked into the store. Master, senior sister, you're back? The young man named Qi Shan saw Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong and quickly greeted them. Qi Shan seemed to be 2 or 3 years older than Mu Yu. He had a simple and honest look, with thick eyebrows and big eyes. When he smiled, he looked like a spring breeze. His cultivation base was only at out-of-body stage. When he saw that Xian Jingtang was riding on the neck of a 3-year-old child, he was also stunned for a moment. He didn't understand why his master, a dignified spirit-severing expert, would let a child who didn't seem to have any cultivation base ride on his neck. Qi Shan quickly served the tea. This is young noble Yufeng, our esteemed guest. You must not neglect him, Xian Jingtang solemnly said. And good. Please come in. Qi Shan couldn't help but look at Mu Yu a few more times. He quickly invited Mu Yu in and then went to the back to pour tea. After returning, Qi Shan was surprised to find that his master was very respectful towards Mu Yu. He was very puzzled because Mu Yu only had out-of-body stage cultivation. Even if he was an esteemed guest, with his master's spirit-severing stage cultivation, there was no need for him to be so humble. What was going on? Let me introduce, this is my inferior disciple, Xian Qi Shan. He can be considered as half my son. Qi Shan, this is young noble Yufeng, our esteemed guest. You must serve him well, understand? Xian Jingtang solemnly said. Yes, master. Qi Shan greets young noble Yufeng. Qi Shan only thought that Mu Yu was a disciple from some large sect, so he didn't think too much about it. No need to be restrained. I don't like so many customs. Little Handsome, come here. Mu Yu sat on the chair. Little Handsome was still riding on Xian Jingtang's neck. Xian Jingtang and Xian Sitong were also respectfully standing at the side. The atmosphere was a bit strange. Little Handsome jumped from Xian Jingtang's neck to Mu Yu's thigh. He happily kicked his little feet and then said, Uncle, do you have good food here? Yes, yes. Qi Shan was very nimble. He quickly brought some demon beast barbecued meat from the back and gave it to Little Handsome. Little Handsome happily ate on Mu Yu's thigh. Xian Jingtang turned around and asked Qi Shan, Earlier, I saw that the customer was very dissatisfied. Did you lose this business again? Qi Shan said with distress, Master, that customer earlier came to sell a third-rank Qi mixie. The market price is 3,000 spirit stones, but I have already offered 3,100. He said that the beast taming camp is selling them for 3,500, so he is going to the beast taming camp now? Mu Yu asked. Yes. It's not that I don't want to do this business, but if I do, we will lose money. We are also clear about the price of the beast taming camp. A third-rank Qi mixie is only 3,000 spirit stones. We only buy third and fourth-rank demon beasts, so the price is still higher than the beast taming camp. Even though the profit is less, we can still get some business from them. Qi Shan explained. If the price was the same or lower than the beast taming camp, then the Xian Beast Workshop wouldn't be able to do business. They could only raise the price a bit to attract some customers. Then how many business have you done in the past few days when we weren't here? Xian Jingtang didn't blame Qi Shan. The beast taming camp's price was always high because they had money, but the Xian Beast Workshop couldn't do the same. Qi Shan hesitated for a moment before stammering, 2, 1 for a third-rank demon beast, 1 for a fourth-rank demon beast. 2 business in the past 10 days? Xian Jingtang frowned. Qi Shan said with a bitter expression, Master, we are embarrassed right now. You also know that in order to suppress the fire on Master's wife, we have secretly used some of the spirit stones in the shop to buy cold ice stones. Moreover, we still owe the tributes that we should give to the sect last month. Soon, the tributes for this month will arrive. We really don't have any extra spirit stones to buy the better quality demon beast. Xian Jingtang sighed heavily. There were some things that even a spirit-severing expert like him couldn't do. Cold ice stones? How much are they? Mu Yu asked. Cold ice stones were a type of stone that could emit cold air. Even under the sun, they would still maintain a low temperature. In the past, when he was studying formations, Mu Yu also came in contact with cold ice stones. They could be used as the foundation of a low-temperature formation, but Mu Yu didn't have them. A fist-sized cold ice stone is worth 10,000 spirit stones. If we use it to suppress Master's wife's fire, it will only last for about 2 days. Qi Shan said. Because of the low temperature, cold ice stones could reduce the pain of being burned by Huiyumeng. It could also slow down the burning speed of the flames. It was a temporary way to deal with being injured by a heaven-rank Huiyumeng. However, this method could only treat the symptoms and not the root cause. If they wanted to completely remove Huiyumeng's flames, they could only use the Taisher Purple Heaven Pill. Xian Jingtang's wife had already been attacked by Huiyumeng's flames for a month. Xian Jingtang had used cold ice stones to alleviate his wife's injuries from the very beginning. Just the cold ice stones alone had cost him nearly 150,000 gold coins. If this continued, it would not work. Right, uncle, can you take me to see your wife's situation? I want to see how Huiyumeng burned a cultivator. Mu Yu came here to find out Huiyumeng's whereabouts. Naturally, he wanted to know how Huiyumeng injured people. Of course. Young master, this way please. Qi Shan, you look after the shop here. Xian Jingtang hurriedly brought Mu Yu to the backyard. Soon, they arrived outside a side room. Mother, we're back. Xian Sitong anxiously pushed open the door and walked in. Xian Jingtang also brought Mu Yu in. Sitong, you're back? Lying on the bed was a madam whose face was pale but still looked beautiful. She looked at Sitong with a loving gaze before turning to Xian Jingtang and asking gently, Jingtang, did anything happen to you guys this time around? This young master is… Mother, this is young Master Yufeng. He is our benefactor. When we were hunting the graceful leopard, something almost happened. It was all thanks to young Master Yufeng's help. Xian Sitong introduced Mu Yu to her mother. Young master, this is my wife, Yan Hanyu. Xian Jingtang said. Many thanks young Master Yufeng. Madame Xian kindly nodded and greeted. Then, she worriedly asked, Sitong, something almost happened when you were hunting the graceful leopard. The graceful leopard is a rank 6 demonic beast with extremely fast speed. How could you go and find trouble with it? Are you injured? Mother, I'm fine. Father's arm is injured. Xian Sitong replied. Jingtang, you're injured? Madame Xian sat up with the help of her daughter. She looked at Xian Jingtang's arm with love. I'm fine. Young Master Yufeng has already stopped the bleeding. Xian Jingtang sat beside Madame Xian and forced out a smile. Then I really have to thank young Master Yufeng. Madame Xian said gratefully. It's fine. Madame Xian, let me see Huiyumeng's flame on your body. Mu Yu said. He never knew what it was like for a cultivator to be ignited by flames. Xian Jingtang comforted his wife. Madame Xian stretched out her right hand. She was holding a frost stone. At this moment, the frost stone was still burning. The flame enveloped the frost stone. Mu Yu walked over and carefully examined the flame on Madame Xian's palm. This flame was pale white. It was dancing on Madame Xian's palm. At this moment, Madame Xian's spiritual energy was continuously being transferred to her palm, providing fuel for the flame. If she didn't do so, the flame would burn her skin and flesh. Finally, she would be burned to ashes. A person's spiritual energy was limited. The reason why Madame Xian could still hold on was because Xian Jingtang had bought a rank 5 pill, spirit-restoring pill, to replenish her spiritual energy. However, rank 5 pills were also very expensive. A single spirit-restoring pill was close to 20,000 spirit stones. Madame Xian's cultivation was only at the out-of-body stage. According to the burning speed of the flame on her palm, her spiritual energy was enough to burn for 3 days. This also meant that she would need to replenish her spiritual energy after 3 days. In order to save his wife's life, Xian Jingtang had spent several 100,000 spirit stones. Xian Jingtang was only an elder of a small sect that managed the business outside. The sect had its own rules. Most of the money earned by the Xian Beast Workshop had to be handed over to the sect. Therefore, he wasn't rich. Adding on the expenses of suppressing Madame Xian's heavenly flame, Xian Jingtang was already embarrassingly short of money. Mu Yu stretched out his hand and transferred his spiritual energy over. However, he found that he was unable to extinguish the pale white flame. Not only that, the spiritual energy he transferred over also became the flame's fuel. The flame created by Heaven's stage Yumeng was called Heavenly Flame. The Heavenly Flame used spiritual energy as its source to burn. Other than using one's own spiritual energy to resist, other people's spiritual energy would become the flame's fuel. Even if one's cultivation was higher than the body fusion stage, they still wouldn't be able to extinguish the flame. This kind of flame was too overbearing. Little Handsome, is there any way to move these heavenly flames? Mu Yu tried and found that there was no way at all. Whether it was Deadwood Daddy or his master, Mu Yu had never taught this kind of thing. Brother, in front of outsiders, you have to call me Little Brother Handsome. Little Handsome ate until his mouth was full of oil, but he didn't forget to be narcissistic. Alright, Little Brother Handsome, is there any way to deal with these flames? Mu Yu resisted the urge to slap Little Handsome to death. Let me think, Qiao Shui and Luo Shang should be able to deal with it. What's the difference between answering and not answering? Mu Yu rolled his eyes at Little Handsome in annoyance. Qiao Shui could control water, Luo Shang could control fire, so they naturally had a way to deal with these heavenly flames. And Mu Yu could control wood, so he could only use it as fuel for the flames. Being contaminated by this kind of flame, even if you cut off the hand, it would be useless. It will continue to burn at the cut. However, you can think about the principle of heavenly flames burning, and then think about the principle of Taisher Purple Heaven Pill extinguishing fire. There should be a way. Little Handsome said. But how would I know? Strictly speaking, Mu Yu wasn't an alchemist. His alchemy skills were at the bottom of the Danding sect, but he was very sensitive to herbs. But against heavenly flames, herbs seemed to have lost their effectiveness. The Danding sect's Taisher Purple Heaven Pill must have some special formula. It wasn't made of herbs, but some precious minerals. However, Mu Yu wasn't very clear about the specific formula. Then I can't do anything, Little Handsome said. Although Xian Jingtang didn't have any hope for Mu Yu, he still couldn't help but feel sad. Mrs. Xian stretched out her other hand and gently held Xian Jingtang's hand. She said guiltily, "It's all my fault for dragging you guys down, don't say that. Even if I have to sell everything I have and become someone's cow or horse, I will definitely cure you," Xian Jingtang said firmly. Mu Yu's heart moved. Xian Jingtang was very good to his wife, but unfortunately, Xian Jingtang couldn't do anything about this situation. Chapter 802. As for how to deal with the heavenly fire, the jade slip of the Sanchong Palace did not mention anything about it. For the Sanchong Palace, cultivators who were killed by Yuman could produce soul power. This was the purpose of the war. If there were a large number of Taisher Purple Heaven Pills, the casualties would be reduced a lot. Therefore, the Sanchong Palace only pretended to give out jade slips introducing Yuman, but did not explain some specific things clearly. However, Mu Yu would definitely find a way to deal with the heavenly fire. He was thinking about when he should go to the Danding sect and take the prescription of the Taisher Purple Heaven Pill to study it carefully. He wanted to know why the Taisher Purple Heaven pill could extinguish the heavenly fire. Don't worry, I still have some spirit revitalizing pills. You can use them first. Mu Yu took out a bottle of spirit revitalizing pills and handed it to Xian Jingtang. Xian Jingtang was shocked. Spirit revitalizing pills? Young master, why do you have so many? You are really willing to give us these level 5 spirit revitalizing pills? Mu Yu said casually, take it. Anyway, level 5 spirit revitalizing pills are not very useful to me now. Level 5 spirit revitalizing pills could quickly replenish lost spiritual power. This kind of pill was very useful for cultivators in the out-of-body stage and below because one spirit revitalizing pill could completely replenish the consumed spiritual power. The effect of replenishing spiritual power for cultivators in the Funshan stage and the form synthesis stage was not so obvious, but sometimes it was still useful. Xian Jingtang opened the bottle and was shocked to see more than 20 spirit revitalizing pills inside. One spirit revitalizing pill was 20,000 spirit stones. More than 20 spirit revitalizing pills were nearly 500,000 spirit stones. Young master, these spirit revitalizing pills, Xian Jingtang said with trembling hands. Is it not enough? If it is not enough, I have more. Mu Yu said and took out another bottle. Xian Jingtang and his family were shocked. Just who was this young master? How could he casually take medicinal pills as if they were free? Is he a disciple of the Danding sect? But the disciples of the Danding sect were very weak. It was impossible for them to go deep into the mountains and forests to hunt demon beasts alone. Not to mention, the disciples of the Danding sect were generally not very high. It was already very heaven-defying for them to reach the Funshan stage. However, this young man was at the form synthesis stage. Xian Jingtang didn't dare to be greedy and hurriedly said, No, you misunderstood the young master. It's just that this thing is too precious, I really don't dare. I just find you and your father pleasing to the eye. It's nothing much. Mu Yu put away the bottle of spirit-restoring pills. Back when he was in the Pill Cauldron sect, he had extorted a large amount of pills from the old man guarding the pavilion and Taoist cloud core to remove the wood dregs from their bodies. For example, at that time, the conditions he had set were level 5 pills, 100 level 5 pills, 50 level 6 pills, and 20 level 7 pills. He had extorted 6 alchemists and had a total of more than 600 fifth-order pills, most of which were spirit-restoring pills, which he had not used up until now. I am unable to repay young noble's great kindness. Please accept my bow. Xian Jingtang was extremely grateful and was about to bow, but Mu Yu didn't allow him to kneel. Forget it. Hurry up and deal with those 6th-order monster beasts. Then go and buy a Taisher Purple Heaven pill. Let me see how this pill works. Mu Yu waved his hand. Yes, young noble. Xian Jingtang was secretly glad that he had met Mu Yu in the woods that day. He was even more glad that he had kept his integrity at that time and didn't provoke Mu Yu. Otherwise, how could such a lucky thing happen today? Xian Sitong was even more excited. After a while, she asked, Young noble, are you a disciple of the Pill Cauldron sect? Mu Yu touched his chin and said, No, I was just fated to meet an alchemist of the Pill Cauldron sect. He gave me some pills. Fated to meet an alchemist? Xian Jingtang was shocked again. To be able to give away level 5 pills, it meant that the alchemist was at least a level 5 alchemist. A level 5 alchemist was a great god in the cultivation world. Even he, a spirit-severing stage cultivator, had to be 90% polite when meeting an out-of-body stage level 5 alchemist. If a small sect cultivator like them could get to know a level 5 alchemist, it would be something that they couldn't ask for more. In fact, if Xian Jingtang knew that Mu Yu had even extorted the Pill Cauldron sect's head, he would definitely be scared out of his wits. This young noble's origin is too mysterious. Fortunately, I didn't offend him and didn't want to take advantage of him. Otherwise, Xian Jingtang's thoughts turned quickly. He was also glad. He knew that as long as he followed his own principles, he would definitely be rewarded. Although Xian Jingtang was very short of money and his wife was tortured by the heavenly fire, he always reminded himself to be an upright and principled person. Fortunately, he didn't get carried away by the spirit stones at that time. At this moment, Qi Shan suddenly ran in from the front of the shop in a hurry. His face was extremely anxious. "Not good, master, there are 2 customers outside. They seem to be here to cause trouble." "Trouble? What's going on?" Xian Jingtang frowned. Qi Shan hurriedly said, "2 customers came to our store with a 4th-rank demonic beast, whirlwind tiger. They insisted that it was a 5th-rank flaming tiger. I told them that it was a mistake, but they flew into a rage and said that they would smash our store." "Master, these 2 customers are severed soul cultivators. I had no choice but to say that I wanted the shopkeeper to take a look. The difference between a whirlwind tiger and a flame tiger is so big, how could it be a mistake?" Xian Jingtang faintly felt that something was wrong. Although there weren't many flame tigers and whirlwind tigers, many people knew how to distinguish between them. Normally, no one would make such a mistake. He was afraid that today's matter was very strange. Mu Yu said, "No need to think about it, trouble has come to our door." Mu Yu revealed his level 7 demon spirit in front of the Beastmaster camp, so he must have been targeted. "Young noble, I'll go out and send them away," Xian Jingtang said. "I'll go with you." Mu Yu also went out and crossed the courtyard with Xian Jingtang, and came to the shop. At this time, there were not only 2 spirit-severing stage cultivators in the shop. There were at least 7 or 8 spirit-severing stage cultivators. Among them, there were 4 spirit-severing stage cultivators. There was even a middle-aged man in the 9th layer of the spirit-severing stage. Xian Jingtang was also surprised to see so many customers in the shop. These spirit-severing stage cultivators came in a menacing manner. They seemed to have come prepared. Xian Jingtang saw that Mu Yu was behind him, so he felt a bit more confident and said politely, "Dear customers, I am Xian Jingtang of the Xian Beast Workshop. I heard that you want to sell a level 5 flame tiger. I wonder if you can take it out for me to take a look?" "Shopkeeper Xian? You came at the right time. Your shop assistants have eyes but fail to recognize Mount Tai. They actually dared to say that my rank 5 demonic beast, Raging Flame Tiger, is a rank 4 demonic beast, Whirlwind Tiger. As a shopkeeper, you must have a higher standard. Don't be mistaken." The one who spoke was a cold-faced, one-eyed man. His left eye was covered with a ferocious claw mark, as if it was blinded by a demon beast. When Xian Jingtang saw the one-eyed man, he was also extremely fearful. He recognized the one-eyed man and then cupped his hands and said, "It's the honor of our Mystic Beast Workshop for Taoist One-Eyed to grace our shop with your presence." In the cultivation world, there was a profession that specialized in hunting demon beasts called demon hunters. They hunted and sold demon beasts for a living. This one-eyed man was famous among the demon hunters. He was at the 9th celestial layer of the severed soul realm. Countless demon beasts had died in his hands, so he was called One-Eyed Snake. The One-Eyed Snake had a demon hunting organization called the One-Eyed Gang. It managed several hundred demon hunters. One-Eyed Snake had a cooperative relationship with the Beast Taming Pavilion. The demon beasts that he hunted would be sold to the Beast Taming Pavilion at a fair price. But today, he brought demon beasts to the Xian Beast Workshop to sell. Anyone with a discerning eye knew what he was here for. Less nonsense. Our One-Eyed Gang is sincerely doing business with your Xian Beast Workshop. You better polish your eyes for me. One-Eyed Snake sneered. At this moment, a bloody demonic beast was placed on the huge stone platform used to appraise demonic beasts. It was a 10-meter-long tiger demonic beast. Its body was tall and sturdy, and its fur was bright red. It looked like it was on fire. However, its entire body was drenched in blood, and it had lost an eye. This was One-Eyed Snake's habit. Every time he hunted a demon beast, he would destroy the demon beast's left eye. It was said that he did this to take revenge for a purple cloud snake that blinded his left eye. Even if some demon beast's eyes could be sold for a high price, he didn't care. Xian Jingtang smiled. Brother One-Eyed Snake, please don't be impatient. Allow me to appraise it. Rank 5 Flaming Tigers and Rank 4 Whirlwind Tigers looked similar in appearance, and even had similar names. If one wasn't an experienced beast appraiser, it would be difficult to tell the difference between a dead flaming tiger and a whirlwind tiger. Living flaming tigers and whirlwind tigers were naturally easy to distinguish. That was where the difference in strength lay. The difficulty lay in the fact that the demon beasts were all dead, so they couldn't display their true strength. There were two techniques to distinguish a dead flaming tiger from a whirlwind tiger. Firstly, it was based on the demon spirit, which couldn't be faked. Secondly, it was based on the demon beast's fur. On the rank 4 whirlwind tiger's abdomen, there was a mark in the shape of a whirlwind. That was how it got the name whirlwind tiger. Xian Jingtang's spiritual energy swept across the tiger carcass on the stone platform. Soon, he realized that the demon spirit wasn't among them. This wasn't surprising. Many people would sell the demon spirit separately from the demon beast they hunted. Hence, it was normal for there to be no demon spirit. Previously, when Beast Taming Abode bought the rank 2 giant python instead of the rank 6 copper-eyed snake, they were able to get away with it because the rank 2 monster didn't have a demon spirit. However, the seller lied and claimed that the demon spirit had been taken away. Xian Jingtang waved his hand again. With a surge of spiritual energy, he flipped the tiger carcass over. His gaze fell upon the tiger's abdomen. However, the tiger's abdomen was now a bloody mess, as if it had been injured by some kind of magical weapon. The whirlwind mark had long disappeared. Chapter 803. When the One-Eyed Snake spoke, he didn't hide the threat in his words at all. Today, he was here to cause trouble for the Mystic Beast Workshop. His true purpose was to create an excuse for himself to attack and seize the rank 7 demon spirit from the other party. Xian Jingtang glanced at the One-Eyed Snake and pondered for a moment before saying, "Fellow One-Eyed Snake, this isn't a rank 5 flaming tiger but a rank 4 whirlwind tiger. Even if we don't look at the demon spirit and the whirlwind patterns on its chest, we can tell from the whirlwind tiger's bones and muscles elasticity." Xian Jingtang knew that the One-Eyed Snake was deliberately making things difficult for him by destroying the whirlwind tiger's characteristic. However, no matter how similar a rank 4 and rank 5 monster's physique was, there was still a difference of one level. The bones and muscles of the body were different by one level. Even an experienced beast appraiser would be able to tell. The One-Eyed Snake's expression darkened and he said coldly, "Shopkeeper Xian, are you questioning my judgment? Although I'm blind in one eye, it's not to the extent that I can't differentiate between a flaming tiger and a whirlwind tiger. Everyone here is an experienced beast hunter. You can ask the others if this is a flaming tiger or a whirlwind tiger." As soon as his voice fell, 3 more demonic beast hunters at the Severed Soul stage surrounded him and pointed at the Class 4 whirlwind tiger on the stone platform. Then, they all insisted that it was a Class 5 flaming tiger. "Shopkeeper Xian, did you see that? Everyone is saying that this is a genuine flame tiger. Besides, everyone here is a Yao hunter. Do you think that we're all mistaken?" The One-Eyed Snake revealed an aggressive smile. Xian Jingtang knew that the One-Eyed Snake and the others were here to cause trouble. These beast hunters were all his subordinates, and the One-Eyed Snake was deliberately making things difficult for the Mystic Beast Workshop. Xian Jingtang clenched his fists and forced a smile. "Fellow One-Eyed Snake, I still have this bit of insight. Our profound beast workshop is fair and just. Demonic beasts are of whatever rank they should be. There won't be any cases of cheating customers. If fellow Taoist doesn't believe me, you can take this demonic beast to the beast taming abode for appraisal. The one-eyed snake coldly snorted, "Shopkeeper Xian, it seems that your profound beast workshop is indeed a shady shop. What I hate the most in my life are shady shops. Us demon hunters painstakingly hunt demon beasts outside and can lose our lives at any time. But you unscrupulous merchants actually dare to casually deceive customers and invert right and wrong. I think there's no need for this kind of shop to exist." The one-eyed snake started to make things difficult as soon as there was a disagreement. His excuse for making things difficult was methodical. In addition, he had his own subordinates lying through their teeth. Everything went according to his wishes. Not only can a rank 7 demon spirit be sold for a high price, but if he keeps it, he can also absorb the pure spiritual energy within it, which will be of great benefit to his cultivation. The moment Yifeying of the beast taming abode released the news, the one-eyed snake, with the intention of currying favor with Yifeying, immediately brought his subordinates over with a whirlwind tiger to make up the numbers. He wanted to take the opportunity to kill the people of the profound beast workshop and seize the rank 7 demon spirit. Fellow one-eyed snake, doing business is all about mutual consent. If you have any objections to the results of the appraisal, you can take your demon beast and leave. Our Burning Sea sect never forcefully buys or sells. Fellow Taoist, please conduct yourself with dignity. Xian Jingtang glanced at Mu Yu, who was beside him, and felt a little more at ease. When he heard about the Burning Sea sect, the one-eyed snake was a little afraid. After all, no matter how powerful their one-eyed gang was, they were only a small gang in a city. On the other hand, the Burning Sea sect had a body integration stage cultivator overseeing it. However, he remembered Yifeying of the Earthly Imperial sect. As long as he could obtain the rank 7 demon spirit and sell it to Yifeying, he would be able to curry favor with the genius of the Earthly Imperial sect. Why would he need to be afraid of a small Burning Sea sect? The one-eyed snake said domineeringly, "This is no longer a matter of selling or not. Your Mystic Beast Workshop's actions are clearly bullying and humiliating us demon hunters. Today, I will seek justice for my fellow demon hunters and smash your black shop." The one-eyed snake brought 3 severed soul stage subordinates with him. Including himself, there were 4 severed soul stage subordinate. The beast hunters fought with demon beasts all year round. They were a group of fierce people who had their heads tied to their belt. An intense murderous aura instantly burst out as they pounced towards Xian Jingtang. From the one-eyed snake's point of view, the profound beast workshop only had a severed soul stage Xian Jingtang overseeing it. With 3 severed soul stage subordinates helping him, killing Xian Jingtang was more than enough. As long as he killed Xian Jingtang and obtained the rank 7 demon spirit, the matter would be completed. Xian Jingtang saw the menacing aura of these people and his face greatly changed. Just as he was about to ask Mu Yu to make a move, Mu Yu had already blocked in front of him and said indifferently, "I'll give you some time. Get out of the profound beast workshop. Otherwise, die." Mu Yu felt a burst of irritation towards these beast hunters who were looking for trouble for no reason. This irritation caused a trace of uncontrollable killing intent to quietly appear in his body. "Brat, you want to kill us with just you? You don't know my name, right? Let me tell you, I'm a dragon slayer." Before the one-eyed snake finished speaking, a green light suddenly flashed in front of his eyes. By the time he reacted, he was already choked by the other party. "I don't need to know your name." A terrifying killing intent covered the sky and smashed towards these severed soul stage cultivators. Before the 3 severed soul stage beast hunters could even get close, they felt an awe-inspiring force landing on their chests. It was as if a mountain had smashed into their chests. Following that, They were directly sent flying while vomiting blood non-stop. I've already given you a chance. Mu Yu's eyes were suffused with a cold, killing intent. This killing intent made the one-eyed snake, who had been infected with killing for years, feel terrified. Countless demon beasts had died in his hands, and countless cultivators had also died in his hand. However, the killing intent on his body was far less than 1/1,000,000th of Mu Yu's. Is this young man a human or a ghost? How can he have such a terrifying killing intent? Even the killing god who kills people all day wouldn't be able to do so, right? The one-eyed snake already felt a burst of fear. He struggled to squeeze out a few words from his mouth. You dare to kill me, young master, won't let, Kacha? The one-eyed snake didn't finish his words. His head had already involuntarily tilted to the other side. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets. His limbs gradually straightened, and he slowly stopped breathing. Mu Yu mercilessly twisted the one-eyed snake's neck. The one-eyed snake didn't understand until it died. It clearly received information that the rank 7 demon spirit was on the shopkeeper of the Profound Beast Workshop. The shopkeeper of the Profound Beast Workshop was at the first layer of the Severed Soul stage. Just in case, he even brought along a few Severed Soul stage subordinate. However, who would have thought that the young man beside Xian Jingtang would actually be at the body fusion stage? Bang! The one-eyed snake's corpse had already been thrown out of the Profound Beast Workshop by Mu Yu. The aura on his body was like that of an Azura from hell. It was gloomy and terrifying. Even Xian Jingtang and Qi Shan were so scared that they didn't dare to move. A huge wave was set off in Xian Jingtang's heart. He always thought that young Master Yufeng was a very easygoing young man. He was generous and willing to help others. However, he didn't expect that this seemingly amiable young man would actually be so decisive in killing. The entire Profound Beast Workshop was shrouded in a terrifying killing intent. It was like a torrential storm that was recklessly pouring down, wanting to destroy everything. Those demon hunters whose cultivation weren't up to par had already fallen to the ground in fright. There were even some who were so incompetent that they wet their pants from this killing intent. Demon hunters often fought with demon beasts. Their bodies were filled with hostility. However, compared to this young man in front of them, it was simply child's play. Even the leader of the one-eyed gang, the Severed Soul Stage one-eyed snake, was directly killed. How could the remaining demon hunters have any thoughts of resisting? Mu Yu's murderous gaze swept across those demon hunters who didn't make a move, but were already scared out of their wits. An intense killing intent once again burst out from his body. He didn't plan to leave anyone alive. However, at this moment, Xiao Shuai suddenly stretched out his small hand and grabbed onto Mu Yu's hand. He blinked his cute big eyes and said in a childish voice, "Big brother, I want a hug." The torrential killing intent quickly receded from the Profound Beast Workshop. It came and went quickly, as if nothing had happened. Mu Yu lowered his head. The killing intent in his eyes had already disappeared. He slightly frowned. He didn't really understand what happened to him. He only killed a few Severed Soul Stage small fries. Why did he inexplicably use the power of slaughter? Mu Yu couldn't understand. He realized that he didn't know when this power had reached the point where he could use it as he wished. Even if Xiao Shuai sealed it away, it was useless. He felt very uneasy. Could it be that because he used the power of slaughter too much, he was gradually affected by this power? Mu Yu squatted down and carried Xiao Shuai. Xiao Shuai revealed an innocent and lively smile. His small hand circled around Mu Yu's neck and said, "Big brother, hurry and chase this group of people out. They're an eyesore." Mu Yu silently nodded his head and indifferently said, "All of you, scram." The remaining demon hunters were as if they had been pardoned. They rolled and crawled towards the door, and even bumped into each other at the door. Soon after, they hurriedly lifted the one-eyed snake's corpse and supported the injured people before disappearing into the street in a sorry state. There were also some cultivators outside the profound beast workshop who wanted to fish in troubled waters. When they saw the one-eyed snake's corpse, they were scared out of their wit. They all came from the beast-taming camp to wait for an opportunity to seize a rank 7 demon spirit. However, after seeing the fate of the one-eyed snake, who was at the 9th layer of the severed soul stage, no one dared to have any thoughts. Mu Yu extended his hand to help Xiao Shuai wipe off the oil stains on the corner of his mouth. Soon after, he turned around and looked at the frightened Xian Jingtang and Qi Shan. He recovered his mood and revealed an easygoing smile. "Uncle, it's fine. I think I'll be staying here." "You should have extra rooms here, right?" Xian Jingtang finally reacted. He looked at Mu Yu with palpitating heart and quickly nodded. "Young master, we do." "Qi Shan, quickly bring young Master Yufeng to the guest room." Qi Shan was also scared to the point that he didn't even dare to breathe loudly. He only woke up after being kicked by Xian Jingtang. He quickly brought Mu Yu to the guest room while trembling with fear. After Mu Yu left, Xian Jingtang felt that the pressure that could topple mountains and overturn seas had disappeared. He realized that his back was unknowingly soaked in cold sweat. His forehead was also covered in cold sweat. Xian Sitong, who had just rushed over, was also shocked by Mu Yu's killing intent. She didn't dare to take a step forward. "Young master, just what kind of person are you?" Xian Jingtang's heart was surging with emotions. The only thing that made him rejoice was that he didn't anger this mysterious young master. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. "Little handsome, just now it's all thanks to you," Mu Yu said softly while lying on the bed. Just now, when he killed the one-eyed snake, Mu Yu seemed to have changed into another person. He killed decisively and didn't have the slightest bit of mercy. Although killing the one-eyed snake wasn't a big deal to him, the important point was that when he killed the one-eyed snake, he couldn't help but use the power of killing. That power seemed to be unable to be easily suppressed anymore. "No need to thank me. Who asked me to be your handsome little brother?" Little Handsome said indifferently while his head was lying on Mu Yu's stomach. Little Handsome just realized that something was wrong with Mu Yu. Therefore, he stood out like an obedient child and held on to Mu Yu's hand. He pulled Mu Yu back from the edge of killing. Fortunately, although Mu Yu became cold, he was still able to control himself in time. Mu Yu smiled and reached out to pinch Xiao Shuai's cute little face. He really treated Xiao Shuai as his own little brother. Fortunately, on this lonely road, there was still Little Handsome to accompany him. He wouldn't let himself be too lonely. "It's that power of killing that affected my state of mind. Now, I don't need to use Mu Ling to feel that I swallowed the one-eyed snake's soul power after it died," Mu Yu said. In the past, only Mu Ling could swallow the soul power of others after they died. But now, Mu Yu himself seemed to have become a sacred weapon of death. After being killed by him, there was no soul power that could escape. Little Handsome nodded. "It should be. This time, you inexplicably used that power. That power has quietly affected you. Your spiritual power has always been different from others. You can kill without leaving any soul power behind. You will unconsciously find that your temperament has changed a lot. Therefore, I think you have to face a choice now. What kind of person do you want to be?" "What kind of person do I want to be?" Mu Yu was stunned for a moment. "I remember when you first came out of the Moyun mountain range. At that time, you liked a thriving life and didn't like killing people. You felt that the loss of life was irresponsible to yourself. And now, you have gradually changed your temperament and become decisive. What kind of person do you think is better?" Little Handsome asked. Mu Yu was silent for a moment. "Many people deserve to be killed. So you want to choose to be the second person?" Little Handsome asked curiously. Mu Yu shook his head. "I just don't want to be too merciful." The two of them didn't speak again. Little Handsome yawned and narrowed his eyes to snore. Muyu looked at the ceiling. Ever since he came into contact with the power of killing, he thought a lot and saw through a lot. There were many good people in this world, but there were also many bad people. When many people were living in the lies of the threefold palace, choosing to be a merciful person would only harm oneself. He could let good people live, and let those who deserved to die directly. For people like the one-eyed snake, rather than dying in the conspiracy of the threefold palace and becoming the sole power of the threefold palace, it was better to be killed by Muyu. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.